Where do you want me? Just right here?
I was thinking here because that felt close, but this is my first time doing it. You'd have to be at an angle, like sitting over like here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Figure that out. Get yourself comfortable there. Let's see how it looks. That sun's bad, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I can.
No.
I can see you, but I will be like.
I was wanting the curtains open for the fun production value.
Sure.
But we could close the.
So you bring all this stuff with you from LA? Yeah. Jesus.
You know, it's 4 suitcases.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
But the goblins love it.
I saw some clips of you and Giannis. Giannis is one of my boys. It's very funny. Very fucking funny. And I watched an episode with you and Will Sasso.
Oh, that one was odd to me because
I thought it was really funny.
It's still in your eyes.
It's like sneaking around.
Yeah, let me do it. Let me do it. Let me close a little.
You know what? I can also go like this, and then we're good. I think we're good right here.
Okay.
And it doesn't.
Will you tell me?
Yeah. If the sun moves, I'll let you know.
I have a feeling it will.
I don't think you know science.
Okay. All right.
I don't think you know science.
The Will one. He's one of the funniest guys to me.
Yeah.
And let me do levels here. I've thought about once before because I have to do this a lot at my place too. Like whenever I break stuff down and repack it up, and then I have my first podcast in LA.
Yeah.
I'm not always like, I didn't test it beforehand, I just do it. So like there's this shit.
Yeah.
And I thought it might be fun. And sometimes I have like celebrities on that I've never met, and they're kind of like, they come over, they don't know what's going on. I'm like, wash your hands, you know. And then I'm like 15 minutes of sit here and I just thought it would be like such a mild episode of Punk'd to have people come over and just for like
slightly inconvenienced.
Yeah. For 90 minutes. Yeah. All right, well, thanks for coming by, man.
Oh my God, dude. Can you move over there? Is that too much? And then at the end you go, that was a lot of fun. Anything to plug?
Yeah.
And they're like, what? Uh-huh. Did you fucking move me around for 90 minutes? Very funny.
The Will one, I really wanted him to do impressions, and he was so not willing to do them.
Really?
Yeah, he was so not willing. And I guess, like, you know, you don't want to do impressions, and then you got some guy like, do Arnold.
Yeah,
it's
my
like,
God.
I'm Ray Romano.
Yeah, I got Ray Romano on the podcast. Eric Griffin did a movie with him, and he directed, and he got him on. Say hi to Ray.
Hello, Ray.
We're doing a group podcast. Listen to who else I got on here, Dad. Donald Trump.
And I'm Ray Romano. I'm Ray Romano.
And he's fantastic at him, but yeah, sometimes
You're good at him too, right?
Yeah, I've seen you. I do impressions, but I don't know. I think I don't do impressions as much as I just do voices.
Do you think you could do an impression of a guy who's wearing sunglasses and just fucking relax? What's up?
Yeah, I could. Ready? Hold on. Here's my impression of a guy wearing sunglasses. Hey.
Whoa. That's cool. Yeah. I didn't realize you also wore a leather jacket, dude.
Yeah, dude. Welcome to the East Coast.
So you have been requested on my podcast a bit.
No shit.
Including, I have a little ragtag Take Your Shoes Off team. Shout out to Tom and JonMichael.
Tom and JonMichael.
And JonMichael was like, oh, yeah, you'd be great.
Oh, thanks, JonMichael.
Yeah.
I hope I am.
So well, let's see.
Man, a lot of pressure. Oh, man, what's going on with the Ukraine, huh?
It is.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's a lot. And especially during the holidays. It really makes you think.
How so more in the holidays?
Well, war.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Santa's got to visit those kids somehow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you think...
You a Zelensky guy or a Putin guy?
Bleep this. Zelensky? What about you? We'll bleep it.
I think I'm a Putin in the streets, but a Zelensky in the sheets.
Right. I would think that you would want a Zelensky in the streets.
That's the whole point. That's the joke.
Funny.
Yeah.
Dan Soder. If anybody's funny, it's you. And if nobody's funny, unfortunately,
it's me.
Right. You want to introduce yourself? You don't have to.
Yeah, couldn't I not?
You do it during the commercial later on?
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll find out.
Well, I got good news and I got bad news. What should I give them first?
Good news.
The good news is you can visit thefreezepipe.com and use code TYSO for 10% off your order. That's thefreezepipe.com and code TYSO for 10%. Shipping is free. Your throat and lungs will thank you. You want the bad news?
Yeah.
If you want to hear more about it, you have to wait until later in the episode.
And you'll hear my name.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Isn't that right? Oh, almost said his name. Did you almost call me a Jew?
Nope.
All right. But if you did and you needed somebody to talk to, you could talk to BetterHelp. You see, if you want to live a more empowered life, therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/TYSO today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.
HELP.
.com/TYSO for
10%
off your first month. Hello. Hi.
Hi.
And if you are in southern sunny California on March 16th, I got good news for you.
What is it?
Rick Glassman from the Take Your Shoes Off podcast is playing the Irvine Improv.
That's you.
You want tickets?
Yeah.
I'll tell you where they are. And the link will be in the description. You've been to a few Rick Glassman stand-up shows.
Yes.
Tell the truth, because the tickets are $500.
Yeah, it is worth it.
Right. Wait a minute. Oh, they're only $25.
Oh, it's not worth it.
What?
It's not worth it for you now.
I appreciate that, but I'm not doing it for the money.
Oh, you should.
All right, $500 bucks. No, it's $25. March 16th, Irvine Improv. Ticket links they're in the description. Back to the episode.
Yes.
Because I think women want a Putin,
in the sheets.
They want a guy that'll choke them and be a little mean.
So the joke is here, you're not doing what a typical woman would want.
Yes.
Deep.
Yes. Yes.
I'm going to ask you some other questions,
Okay.
and I want you to answer them as quickly as you can as the opposite of how a woman would want them.
Okay.
Okay.
Fuck yeah, let's go.
Streets or sheets? LeBron or D. Wade?
Wow. I think D. Wade sheets, LeBron streets.
Okay. Tell me why a woman would want LeBron
In the sheet.
streets.
Oh.
No, because you did opposite.
Well, I thought we were doing the opposite of what women said.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're saying,
Women would want LeBron in the sheets.
tell me why.
Taller, athletic, probably can throw him around a little bit.
As far as women are concerned, and they are, and I am for them, when you think of the difference between LeBron and D. Wade and who's taller and more athletic and who could throw him around, they're both at a 10.
For women? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
So,
I think that is more of a gay man's mind that we're going into where you're like...
which is fine.
Which is very fine.
You know what I'm noticing?
Huh.
I'm noticing that I am, my eye line, I have it wrong. This is going to bother me.
Okay. How do we change it?
I need to be...
Where do you need to be? Think of all your training. It all comes down to this.
Do that as the guy with the sunglasses. I want to apologize to you and the people listening. Hey. This is the first episode. I don't know if we've edited out the beginning. I filmed in this place, and I'm like, I got the jitters. Normally, no, it's fine. It's fine. Eyeline's good.
Do you want me to cheat my eyeline a little?
Yeah, if you don't mind, during the episode, could you look
at the plant?
At either the plant or like this arm?
Done. Done, dude. I've always wanted a blind man's eyeline.
Let's get into business, though, because we don't know each other.
No, we don't.
And I don't know much about you. And I say that with the most disrespect. No.
Yeah, no. I like that. I operate better on that way. Because usually people from LA, they give you faux respect. They give you they've heard your name, so then they act like they know anything about you.
If I were in LA, I would be doing that. Let me show you what I would do if you came out of LA.
Yeah, give it.
Dan, dude, I've been wanting to have you on forever, man. How you been?
That's good.
You good?
Can I give you what I would be like in LA?
Yes.
I'd go.
Is this your podcast or mine?
This is your podcast,
right?
And I'm a guest on your podcast.
Right.
It would be a lot of this.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Eyebrows up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is so great to be here. I have been such a fan of yours for so long.
Thank you. Oh, I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
This is like dueling.
Do you ever feel the need when you're doing a podcast like this to let the audio only listeners, like we're doing prayer hands? Do you ever give the exposition?
No.
Right. They got to watch.
Yeah. Pay the money for the Patreon to get the video.
Well, it's on YouTube.
Well, all right. I don't know how you do your business model. I'm not here to judge you.
Yeah. I noticed the New York people are really big on the Patreon.
Brother, it's an expensive city. Listen, brother, it's an expensive city.
Do you remember when you could have prayer hands like this, and then the other person like
I was just
the
going to say.
first time I saw a vagina was this.
I thought we were about to fucking open it up, dude.
I did Chrissy Chaos's podcast.
Yeah, I love Krista Stefano.
And
wait, hold on.
No, we're in New York now.
Oh,
How'd you do it here?
This fucking guy.
Yes.
Let me tell you something about that fat-titted loser. He's a good man. You gotta end strong.
Right.
You got to end strong.
Like the roasts, you know, at the end. But all jokes aside, up here on this dais,
That's all
he's
New
a good
York.
man.
That's all New York is just roast mentality where you just are shitty to each other and at the very end, very something heartfelt.
Yeah, you have to have a but all jokes aside.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
I did Chris's podcast, and it went almost 2 hours. Mm-hmm. And then after an hour, he cuts the back half and puts it on Patreon only, which you're entitled to. Tell me, I'm giving the goods in the back half.
Yeah. You got to let me know if we're going high shelf, top shelf jokes.
I'm seeing the sun in your eyes.
Okay. Is it starting to bleed over?
Well, I mean, you would know better than I.
Because honestly, right now, I can just feel a light kiss of the sun on the right side of my face.
Nice.
But nothing blinding.
You'll let me know?
Yeah.
All right. So there's this, bleep this word, but you could still keep it in, stigma, that New York is like rough and tough. They tell you how it is. One thing about the New Yorks, they're gonna tell you how it goes.
They love to.
And LA, it's just fake tits, fake hips, fake lips, and fake shits. And the fucking LA scene, like what you were saying, have you really experienced that? Or is that just something you've heard?
I've been out there a couple times, but I haven't spent a lot of time in LA. I've watched friends of mine move out there and become that. I've watched friends of mine go from New York to LA, and all of a sudden you see them and they're like completely different. Now the sun has moved aggressively.
I'm going to close it.
Let's close it. Because that sun almost felt like that sun knew what we were doing.
It feels like the sun is kind of like Team LA because, you know, LA loves the sun.
And I'm New York. I'm over here going, hey, get the fuck out of here. But with all respect, thank you for making plant life and food. I appreciate photosynthesis. But fuck you.
While I'm doing this, we'll put it in fast forward and Benny Hill it up.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure this is the only part of the song that I know, so I'm going to keep repeating that part. I'm going to loop it. I'm going to start doing some original stuff too. This is a song I wrote called Walking in the City. I'm walking in the city. It's in my mind, Rick. I'm walking in the city. It's pretty good. Perfect. Zero blindness.
You know, if I had the budget, I would love to have a curtain guy. And
during
it, just
my God.
just one curtain follow.
And you know what? Really take care of them too. Like a salary it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Like a really good salary for a curtain guy.
What does a typical curtain guy get?
I would guess under 30K.
Oh, yeah, but he's traveling with me. He's doing this. Yeah, but it is one day a week.
Sure. But I'm
Not
saying,
a bad living.
I mean, to move around curtains, it's a great living. It's almost a teacher's salary in Louisiana.
Edit that out. No, it's okay. That's my impression of a guy who thinks he's running for office soon, but he doesn't know what might bite him in the ass.
Edit that. Can we edit that, please?
Because the teachers.
We don't know what the unions are going to be. And that's when you switch to a one-handed. Obama thumbs.
Cut to Bill Burr. Okay. Do it again. Say, this is what I would feel.
Stop pointing at me. Go Clinton. You got to go Bill Clinton. I did not have sexual relations.
Before since I was a kid.
And we're back.
Could you give me an example of the friend or friends that were in New York and tell me what they were like before they moved and then what they were like after?
Yeah, before they moved, they were like, I love comedy. I just love writing jokes.
They're stand-ups.
Yeah. And they're like, I love writing jokes.
Will you tell me your name if we bleep it so I could visualize it?
Oh, yeah.
And that's not just moving to LA.
We weren't like close, but we were like friendly in the comedy scene. Mm-hmm. And then it was such a shift that when I went out there to do Conan one time, he was out there and it was like I was watching him fade like the Back to the Future picture. Like he was like,
Right.
oh, hey, like he was still kind of
Because he's becoming a movie star.
But this was before that. This was like maybe 8 years ago, 10
Gotcha.
years ago, and you just started to see the change in little things.
Absolutely
of like,
bleep the name.
but it really became a thing of like, oh man, I'm watching it, and then other people I've watched go from being like, I love comedy to being like, well, it's really important you get out there and LA is much better at marketing. So
Interesting.
I've watched friends of mine go from being like obsessed with joke writing and being stand-ups to like, well, this is important for your image.
I see the New York people being better at marketing. I guess
Really?
by marketing, I mean just putting out a hell of a lot more reels and social clips.
Oh my God, I feel like we all have to now.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't do anything I don't want to do.
That's the way to go. And then I was yelled at by my agent for doing that.
Yeah, I don't have an agent. He fired me because I don't put out enough reels. No.
You're not meeting your quota.
No, yeah, but I have thought about it. I have actually, and people may reach out again when I say this because I've mentioned it on the podcast, but I just need to set up the logistics for it because I can't I can't do it anymore.
That's exactly what it took me.
But there are people that like are able to do the technical side of it, but they need to have a good eye to find the right clips.
Yes.
And
that was my problem the entire time. I went through a couple years of having a company that like helped me with my social media, and they weren't good at picking the clips.
a company.
Yeah, there's multiple companies that do this shit. In fact, I know most of my friends have a company that runs their social media to edit clips and then put them out.
I guess that is the bigger version of it. My thought is you find people who do this and also are fans.
Oh shit, that's
Because
a good
then they
idea.
know what, like, this is what I like about him. This clip made me laugh.
That was the problem I was running into, where they would send me a clip and be like, huh? And you're like, this sucks. I'm
Right.
not funny in
Yeah.
this. And they're like, it's a good clip though. So then I finally found two guys that were like good at, that knew me and knew what to clip. And it was like, oh, can you just grab as many clips as possible and then we can bank them?
How do you, is Bonfire, is that your only podcast? You have another one? Because
Yeah, that's the only, that's the Sirius XM show I do with Big J. And
not a
that-
podcast.
Now it is, but because everything's a podcast now. So they take like half of the show and clip it off as a podcast.
And put it where? YouTube?
No, they put it on like Spotify, Stitcher, all that shit.
What have you noticed as far as, I mean, it doesn't have to be specifically clips, but content you put online between your stand-up and your podcasting stuff? What draws more people to come to shows for you?
I would say stand-up. The stand-up clips that I put out get more interaction than like podcast clips, unless it's like a fun podcast clip.
What about if people in a podcast get to see a fun stand-up clip? Do you have something in mind? You want to set it up like you're on a late night interview?
Oh my God, this is a fun. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Well, why don't you leave and you'll come on in? Albert, we'll bring you in. We'll put in a little music.
Okay. Do you want to do it like I'm being intro? Am I being introed to intro the stand-up clip?
So here's what's going to happen. We're going to have you right now do the voice. You know what? Let's let the audience see the final product. We'll be right back after a word. You know what? That's kind of far. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Whew, man, I just took a huge shit. Whoa, what's this? Wow, this is really cute. Should I try it on? I'll try it, for size. So cute. I think that this fits. It's a small because I'm skinny. I'm Kevin Bacon's daughter, and I take huge shits.
Okay, great.
Welcome back to Take Your Shoes Off with Rick Glassman and our guest from the show Billions and the Bonfire on Sirius XM. Yeah. Can I get that again? Can we take that?
We're
Can we
going to
take
use
that
that. We're going to use that.
I don't want to
Just
use
say
that,
Dan
though.
Soder.
But I don't want to use that.
Okay.
I don't, honestly.
Hey, honestly, if
we're
you don't want to
doing-
use it.
If we're doing this setup and you're flying with 4 fucking suitcases for that,
Can I say something? I do think it would be funny if it was blah, blah, all this Dan Soder. But
you know, hey, you know what? This is your kitchen,
But it's your intro.
But I like an outside eye on it.
Keep all this in. Dan Soder.
So good to be here.
Dan, good to see you.
So good to be here. Thanks, sir.
Absolutely. So I understand you just flew in from New York. How are your arms?
Oh my God, are they tired? Are they tired? You know what, Rick? You just don't miss. I wish you would take a day off. Make the rest of us feel better.
My wife feels the same.
This fucking guy. You come to New York and you bring the sunshine with you. And that's what I love. That's what I love about seeing a sunny face like your own. I hope your holidays were good.
Thank you. Yes, they were. But you'd have to ask my wife if she'd agree. You've been doing a lot of stand-up.
Been doing a lot of stand-up. I've been watching a lot of boxing.
Really?
So I brought a fun little joke that I. This is not how you do it. I feel like this is kind of how you do it.
Yeah.
It could have been smoother.
First we do a little. We do a little boxing, and then I'll be like, "So what is it about boxing?" Because I tried boxing. They relate.
Yeah,
they relate.
They clap. It's great. It's a great work-out.
Yeah, it's actually really like I tried it with my wife.
Oh God!
Something she let me do.
I try to keep up with her.
What the fuck did you just say?
What?
Did you just say that about my wife?
Oh, but I thought we were. I thought we were doing like a thing.
Oh, you're just joking around.
Yes.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Did you think I was disrespecting you?
I thought you were disrespecting my wife.
I would never do that.
Do you want to see my wife's pussy?
Whoa! Can see why you put a ring on her.
Dan?
Here's a clip of my stand-up. Is that how you do that?
No, I love boxing, though. I do love boxing. Strawweights are my favorite. Those are the best. Those are like the 90, 100-pound guys. They just beat the shit out of each other. But they're so little. The little hands can't knock each other out. It's like watching squirrels fight. It's the fucking best. I fucking love it. I love it. My favorite's when they have translators in the ring after the fight to interview the tiny men. Does not matter the nationality. They'll get in there and be like, "You had him in trouble in the 7th round. When did you think the fight might be over?" Like, and then the translator steps in. He's like, "My hands are weapons from God. I destroy everything I touch." Like, that's what that little ass voice is saying. His family is lucky I let him leave alive. I am the angel of death. All praise be to Jesus Christ.
And we're back. Or should I say, I'm going to get angry back. How do you do voices like that?
I was lonely. I was a very lonely child. And
Child?
I was an only child who was a lonely child. So, is that...
We normally, since COVID, our crew is a little smaller, and I have to make sure that the cameras are going. Oh, I see it. Dan?
Yeah.
Dan.
It's Dan.
You grew up an only child.
Mm-hmm. What about you? No, we don't do that. I completely understand.
Older brother, but one thing at a time. Still older, actually, since I was born.
Thank God.
Your parents together?
No. God, no.
Good. They weren't right? It seemed like they maybe had a...
Oil and water. You were around them.
Which was oil?
My father. That's called alcoholism in our family. We don't call it alcoholism, we call it oil.
Are you an alcoholic?
Oh, yeah.
Are you sober? Or are you still an alcoholic?
10 years in March.
Drinking. Yeah?
Yeah, but I smoke weed, so I'm not sober.
Right.
I just don't drink.
Weed doesn't get in the way of your life.
It might. Don't know yet. Isn't that just a beautiful riddle of life?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, but you knew alcohol did.
Yeah.
Was there an incident or were there many?
No, I think it was just an overall thing of I just did it too much. I was just drinking every day, and it just became a point where I was like, my family doesn't have a good history with this. I should probably stop.
So a bit of yours that was the turning 30 is when having a good time just becomes you're an alcoholic.
Yeah. That's when I started feeling that.
I'm going to start trying that bit.
You
don't do it anymore, do you?
No, do it. I haven't done that bit in 10 years. I'm almost 40. I haven't done that bit in 10 years. Let it ride, dude.
So you're doing alcohol too much, and one day you just go, what the fuck am I doing? Or did you try it?
Oh, I tried to quit for years, and I probably tried to quit for like 3 years, and then finally I read a book
What's the book?
The Easy Way to Stop Drinking by Alan Carr.
Shout out to Alan Carr.
Dude,
Instagram handle
big shout out to Alan Carr. Guy helped me quit cigarettes. He's dead, but helped me quit cigarettes, alcohol. Guy had a lot of problems, but he helps you out.
What was some easy things?
To know that it's been marketed to you. That was the thing that helped me the most. It's like, it's just a product that has incredible marketing. It's like actually not a good product for you. Like alcohol itself isn't good for you. It does nothing for you besides numbs you. And that was real, because I thought it was like, fuel. I was like, oh, I drink and then I fuck, you know, in your 20s.
I never drank really.
Really?
Mm-mm. Love weed, but I never really drank. So I don't quite get it.
Okay. It's kind of a thing where it's, I wonder what else can I compare it to? It's just something that when you grow up around alcoholics and you're an alcoholic, it's part of the social fabric of your family. Mm-hmm. So you're kind of like, it's almost like a warm, like a blanket, like a blanket you love. Where it's comforting. You're like, oh, I'll drink a little. Like,
do you think that's the same for all families, or is that too much of a blanket statement?
Yeah. I like. Thank you for getting the blanket out of the way too, because that's very triggering for me. Makes me want to drink. Blankets make me want to drink.
Do things still make you want to drink? Really?
Oh yeah, for sure. Dive bars every time.
Do you have to? Do you call a sponsor? Do you have to like practice deal?
No, I don't. A sponsor would be mad that I smoke weed, so I just don't.
Oh, interesting.
I've hit a point where I just don't want to do it. I've gone. Yeah, I've drink. I've gone long enough in my life where I've realized that I've learned how to live without it, and I just remember how bad it got at the end that I was like, oh, I don't need to do it anymore.
Are you okay if we talk about this a little bit more? I have more questions about it.
Yeah, sure.
You said it's just what you do. It like makes you fuck or whatever. Like, are you saying it like you drink and you thought drinking made you better?
Like stand up, right?
Uh-huh.
I started stand up when I was like 21. And so I'd drink, I'd have a beer and a shot, and I'd be like, oh, I'm like kind of loose.
It made stand up easier.
Yeah. And then I would like, it became kind of like a security blanket. Like I said, like you'd go in and I'd have a beer and I'd be like, all right, I got my beer. I'm like, I'm casual, I'm fun, I'm partying.
Brand. It's a brand.
Yeah, I didn't really think of it like that, but yeah, it is.
Especially if you're like on stage.
Yeah, I loved drinking on stage. I grew up loving Stanhope. I grew up loving those kind of comics that like.
Would you on a scale from? What do you like to do scales? I mean, it doesn't matter.
Let's go 1 to 10. Let's do the standard.
Right. How much were you just like a guys comic? Like do guys in the audience be like, he's just like me?
Yeah, I was very much when I drank. I think I was like trying to be that. I was trying to be that. I don't know if I was that, but I was definitely trying to be like, what's up with just having beers and you know, your woman's all like, hey, that kind of dumb bullshit.
I don't know. I whatever. I don't want to get you into drinking, but I like that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking, I like that stuff because I don't like to complain about women anymore.
Yeah, me neither.
Because I realized something recently, which is women have really gotten the shit end of the stick, man.
Damn.
They're fat. They're dumb. Like men call them fat and dumb. You know what I mean?
I was waiting to see which way you're going to go.
No, really. They call them like fat and dumb. And it's like guys are fat and dumb.
Guys are fatter and dumber.
But when a guy's dumb, he's just like cool. When a girl's dumb, she's a slut.
No, I think there can be different kinds of dumb. I don't think dumb necessarily means slut, does it?
I mean, that is a microcosm. Like, like when guys fuck a bunch of girls, they're the man.
Yeah.
But when girls fuck a bunch of girls, they're a lesbian. And it's, first base.
Yeah.
Or when they go to first base, I'm saying with a girl. But
oh, fuck, dude.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
This is kicking in for me now.
You're getting nuts. Is coffee your alcohol?
I think no.
Do you use something too much?
I like weed. I like coffee, but I'm pretty good with not doing it too much. This is going to sound ridiculous, and I'm going to say it, but I don't want to get into it too much because I don't think people will believe me until they know me.
Yeah.
I have a serious food addiction.
Like, you want to eat all the time?
I do eat all the time.
You do?
I eat a crazy amount of food, and
but you're in shape. You look in shape.
I'm an athlete, dude.
Yeah, I've heard that you played high school basketball against LeBron.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I was gonna say he played against me, but
how at that point were you like, because for an athlete's mind, I'm always intrigued by athletes because I sucked at sports, but I love sports. I was terrible at them.
We'll cut to a clip. Good game, dude. Psych.
That's what I mean. Bad at sports. Real bad at sports.
Don't cut back from that. We cut to it, but then just have us walk back into it. Just so people know it was lifetime.
Just a demonstration. Yeah. So when you were in high school, did you play varsity all 4 years?
No.
What year did you start on
I didn't
varsity?
start playing basketball until 9th, 10th grade.
You didn't start playing basketball until 9th or 10th grade?
Yeah.
And you played, and then you got to varsity.
Yeah, but I barely played in high school. I didn't get good until college.
Where did you play in college?
I played. I got to practice with the team a couple times, kind of.
Where'd you go to college?
I won some intramural championships, Kent State.
Okay.
I tried out, and they didn't take me, but they had a full. They didn't. I mean that, and I was a junior at that point. They thought, edit this out, but I played in college.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
But when you were in high school, were you the kind of person, like the mind frame of when you're playing LeBron James? He's probably already been in Sports Illustrated at this point.
We played him the day after he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
No shit.
I bought a Sports Illustrated magazine, which I didn't end up bringing, but the intention was to bring. So in the good game at the end, I could be like, will you sign this?
That's fucking hilarious. To thought of the handshake line and you being like, oh, it's just in in your shorts.
Not sweaty because I played for less than 3 minutes that game.
Yeah. You pull it out and you go, and then, but the specific page while he's doing it where he goes, I guess, man. And you go, it's actually page 96.
Yeah, it's tagged.
Can the yellow tab?
The Lakers were in town to play the Cavs that weekend. So Ron Harper and Shaq were at the game. And they were watching us. And there was like 2,000 plus people at this field house. It was really cool.
Was it at St. Mary's or was it at your high school?
The first year we played him, the year before was at St. Vincent Mary's. The next year was at the Canton Field House, like a bigger thousands of people there.
Because people wanted to see LeBron.
Yeah.
And he actually lived up to it.
I mean,
insane. How many times have you seen comics in LA that there's like buzz?
A lot of hype.
Like buzz, and then you see them and then you're like,
who has buzz?
I've seen a lot.
You know what? I can think of one person that has buzz and he's lived up.
Who?
Gerard Carmichael.
I was just going to say that. He lived up to the buzz.
Yeah.
I remember I did Montreal the same year he did. He
New
got
faces?
I got unrepped. As Chris Laker called it.
Thanks for coming over, bud.
Yeah.
Oh, you said you have an agent now, right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Oh, yeah.
I got representation. We're fine.
Cool.
I righted the ship. Yeah, I know, because you just do your own thing. You just fired him because you just fucking know your own game. You just do what you want. It's the Rick Glassman way. Everyone
But if there
knows
are
it.
any stand-up agents, I do need a stand-up
If there's
agent.
any booking agents,
Yeah.
feel free to reach out.
Yeah.
But
Just call my dad. Okay. Well, should we tell him your name now?
Yeah.
It's JonMichael. You've heard a lot about him. You may have even seen him in something.
I think once. Yeah. Will Sasso. Well,
Yeah, you might have seen him inside of Will Sasso.
tell me about this contraption to your left.
Well, listen, if you know me, then you know I like getting high. Also, look at this. They got it's not just Breaking Bad stuff.
No.
The beakers and shit. It's also, you got the small stuff that you keep in the freezer. It really gives it a smooth smoke. Let's check in with my dad to see what we're talking about.
That's the no-cough toke that you get from Freeze Pipe every time. Go to freezepipe.com/TYSO.
The Freeze Pipe.
The Freeze Pipe, like the Ohio State University. The freezepipe.com/TYSO.
Make sure that's your house. Make sure it goes 21 is over apply. Make sure it goes dry safely. 21 is over apply. Penis, vagina, poop, fart, boogers.
So for the smoothest smoking pipes, bubblers, bongs, and dab rigs, visit thefreezepipe.com and use code TYSO for 10% off your order. Don't believe me? Ask Santa Claus.
I'll tell you this much. Get the Funyuns ready and the fun dip outside, because I'm coming in hot with a couple of hands looking for snacks.
That's thefreezepipe.com and code TYSO for 10% off.
Shop today. Shipping is always free. Your throat and lungs will thank you. This episode of Take Your Shoes Off is sponsored by BetterHelp. Now, JonMichael. JonMichael?
Yes.
JonMichael. Sometimes I need somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need somebody to talk to.
Sometimes.
But sometimes, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't tell you this.
All right, don't. What's going on? My name's JonMichael Pereira.
Okay.
No, please tell me.
No, you make a good point. I guess what I'm trying to say is sometimes maybe you don't want to burden a friend with some of the things that's going on with you. Maybe you don't feel comfortable telling them. Maybe they don't have the advice that you need.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times one of the barriers to entry to finding a therapist is just that, finding the therapist.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
I do.
That's where BetterHelp comes in. You could be matched with a licensed therapist in under 48 hours. You know, JonMichael, if you want to live a more empowered life, therapy can help get you there.
Hell.
What's that? What'd you say?
I said, hell yeah.
Visit BetterHelp.com and get 10% off your first month.
Yes.
That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/TYSO.
I've seen other guys in New York that have been like whispers about where they're like, this guy's incredible. And then what's happened is sometimes they're really good at stand-up and then they're just like, this shit's lame. And then they just quit and they go do other stuff.
There are people that have the buzz and are really good that just don't want to do it anymore.
I've seen 3 different people do that. I've seen 3 different people come into stand-up, be good at it, get buzz, and then they're like, I don't know. And then they just go work a regular job.
This is not that relevant, but I want to make sure I close this off to be more specific about the food thing.
Oh, yeah. I want to talk about this.
There's more to get into and things I've realized about myself with it. But the big thing is binging and sugar and sweets and donuts. And I just don't feel good. I have inflammation issues with my joints. I've had multiple surgeries, not from desserts, but I'm a sensitive boy.
Sure.
Jewish joints.
But you love sweets.
I used to buy cakes every week, like full cakes.
A full cake?
Yeah.
What kind of cake?
This I'm sure this still holds up, but I was doing this more in my 20s. But I found at Ralph's. Do you have Ralph's here?
No, but I know what
Ralph's just has this tuxedo cake.
Okay.
That's unbelievable. My version of it now that I do sometimes, but not every week, is Whole Foods has an and I know tiramisu. Whole Foods has an shockingly unbelievable tiramisu. Unbelievable tiramisu. And I'd get whole cakes.
Now, can we walk away from it being food and can we talk about the part that I always love the most, which is the addict part of your brain?
Right.
How excited it gets knowing that tiramisu is in your future. When you know it's coming, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say you're in LA. Let's say you've had 2 long weeks of work. You've been working out. Everything's all right. You've saved up for this tiramisu. You know you're going to have. How excited are you driving to that Whole Foods?
The dopamine doesn't hit me until I have it. I don't mean eating it. I mean have it.
So you have it. You buy it at Ralph's or you buy it at Whole Foods. You buy this tiramisu.
It's in the fridge.
It's in the fridge.
I walk in and it feels like I'm happy. Yeah, I'm happy. I feel this way not just with desserts though. When I order, I'm on a television show at the moment.
Okay.
And I say that because I don't know if I'm going to get another season of it, but I'm making some money.
Yeah.
And the podcast is doing okay.
Yeah.
My lifestyle has not changed. I live in the same place I've lived for years, and I don't buy extravagant things.
Yeah.
I order Postmates or DoorDash twice a day, and I order multiple things each time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of money. I mean, my delivery is more than my rent.
Jesus.
And what I do is I get multiple sandwiches, multiple entrees, and because I want them in if I ever want something to eat, and if I don't have it in the fridge, I'm anxious.
So that's where the kind of the sweaty palms and the itchiness comes. If you don't have any food, when you get back to LA, because
I'm not driving back while I'm in the car back, I will be ordering food.
So it's there.
So it arrives at the door. So when I get home, whenever I want it, I have it.
That's like me with weed. I like to have weed. I like to know that I have it. My mom lives in Denver where it's legal.
Shout out to Denver, but Denver,
Colorado. I make sure I have weed. I buy weed. I was just there for Christmas. I will go to the
dispensary. Is weed not legal here?
It is, but they don't have it in dispensaries. It's been decriminalized, and I think technically it's legal, but
it's hard to get.
Yeah, New York is so corrupt. You don't know. So I will make sure I buy weed at the dispensary, like I was just home for Christmas, and leave some in the freezer so that when I come home, let's say I visit her for her birthday this summer, my mom, I will have weed at her house. So when I get to her house, I can just fucking roll something up and have, I don't have to go to even though the dispensary is down the street.
Yeah.
I just like having it there.
And if you don't have it, you're like, I'm
like, let me borrow your car.
You smoke every day, yeah?
Yeah.
Same with my dad. My dad is high every single day.
Yeah.
Multiple times a day, just Do you worry about smoking so much? Do you ever try and do more edibles?
I miss cigarettes. I quit cigarettes 10 years too, and I think that's the thing I miss more than anything. I'm almost.
Does a joint offer you that?
Yes.
Right.
So like, if I take a hit of a joint,
are you high now?
No, I didn't get high for this.
Do you have a joint on you? Do you want to smoke?
I didn't bring any weed. I am starting now that I'm almost 40.
Happy birthday! Or
it's coming up. It's like 6 months away. We got time.
Are you June 18th, right?
June 24th.
Yeah, I knew it was within 6 days. It was either the 18th or the 30th. I knew 6 days.
You knew you were going to get it some way. But I have noticed now that I'm closer to 40 that I need to scale back my weed to
because
it's making me a burnout. I'm like forgetting a lot of shit. I've been smoking weed every day since I was 15, and I'm really starting to see like words, names, phrases, shit's just gone that I used to be able to reach back and pull out.
And you think it's the weed?
Oh, it's 100% the weed. Or a brain tumor, which...
Are you saying you do or don't want?
I'm saying if it is a brain tumor, get ready for some benefits with a lot of your favorite comedians on it for money to go to my mom.
Well, if it's like on your pituitary gland, that's kind of a common thing that people could, and you're tall, so
yeah.
Tony Robbins, I think, isn't that a thing that he's so big because he had a tumor on his pituitary and it was pushing and it secreted extra HGH and made him grow?
Is that what happened? Like Andre the Giant? Is that what happened?
Perhaps.
Maybe.
So, I mean, you're tall. How tall are you? 6'3"? No.
Yeah, I'm only 6'3".
I would have said 6'4".
Well,
I wouldn't think it was that far.
I let you know.
Was.
I hate to let you know. So with food, do you ever have a moment where you get, because when I used to drink, if I knew I was like going to the bar to drink, I was so happy to everyone around me.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the end of It's a Wonderful Life. Like I was just nice to everybody where I was like, we're going to go, everything's all right. We're going to go get hammered. I was just so excited to like go get drunk.
Right.
That I was nice to everybody on the way there.
Yeah. It's dopamine.
Yeah.
You're
you doing
filled.
that with when you have a cake in the fridge at home and like, let's say your mom calls you, are you like extra nice to her on the phone because you know it's almost tiramisu time?
It's hard. I get what you're saying. I can answer that differently. It's hard to troubleshoot that because I get in silly, fun moods a lot. It's not just that.
That's fun.
What I notice, it's when the food arrives. It's when the food arrives because I'm not all day thinking I got tiramisu in the fridge.
Yeah.
What I'm doing is I got tiramisu in the fridge. I'm doing my thing, and then I'm like if I had it now, I was thinking, fucking got tiramisu in the fridge, dude.
Yeah.
And now I'm lit up and now I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
When the food comes, like food is delivered and I'm pulling out all the things and I'm just like all the sauces and all the different meals and I could take like I could have half of this sandwich, I could get the meatball sub here, I have these sauces and I know that I can have all these tastes now and I could eat whatever I want now.
Yeah.
And then I have more and it's just and also I also say sometimes like cuz like I'm ordering a lot of stuff I'm like, Rick, you could order again. What's going to be open? When am I going to want it? It's not going to be open. Like, you figure that.
You really
kind of
plan
stuff
it out.
Yeah. And also what I'll do is when I'm eating, I eat myself into pain, not just like, ugh, I'm full. I mean, sometimes when I'm high, I love getting high. I'm able to not get high all the time.
Okay.
I would be getting high a lot more if it weren't for the food issue.
So you get high and then you eat until, it's like that old Louis joke where he says, you don't eat until you're full. You eat until you hate yourself.
I don't know that joke.
Oh yeah, it's from Shameless.
But it does remind me of something an ex of mine said to me because I don't go to bed until I have to because doesn't matter why.
Yeah.
But she said, you don't go to bed when you're tired. You go to bed when you're exhausted. Like I go to bed because I have to.
Yeah, your body's shutting down.
Yeah, not because it's like, get your circadian rhythm in a healthy, nice place. I just want to stay up and eat and watch and do.
Okay.
I will eat to the point of it hurts so much. It hurts so much. And when I'm eating, I'm so full and because I'm uncomfortable, I'll take another bite because that 4 seconds of pleasure. I notice I do that also when foods are spicy. You ever eaten something spicy and it's so spicy, you need something so you take another bite so you could change the palate just for a second and then it's worse and worse.
Yeah.
Logically, I know this isn't the right thing, but what I do is I eat bags and bags of dried mangoes, big bags of dried mangoes. I love them.
Yeah.
I love mangoes, but what am I going to cut them?
Yeah.
I'm editing. So I take out the mango and I go like this and and I leave it in the kitchen at first. So I take a certain amount, so it's portioned.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I don't want to keep getting up, so I'll bring it here. But every time I take some out, I take a lot out, so I don't have to keep going. I take a lot out, I put it on my lap, and then I'll zip the bag because it's done.
Because that's for you finishing, but you still have.
And then there's so much compromising with whatever. Who cares? I eat like this. It's fine. I'll finish the bag. Just don't open another bag. And I'm just constantly. And when I'm high, it's whatever I have in the house will be eaten.
You'll go through everything.
I'll go everything. So when I order 2 sandwiches and the side and maybe like an appetizer, because in case I get hungry later, I can have a bite, or I'll have it for lunch tomorrow. I always compromise with I'll have a meal later. I'll eat all of it.
Were you ever heavy as a kid?
No.
You just can eat and eat and eat. Do you know that disease that people have?
I know that there's a thing called people having like worms.
No, there's like a disease that people have where their parents have to literally lock the refrigerator. Like they have to put chains and a lock on their refrigerator.
No,
it was on one of like a Donahue years ago, or like one of those, like a Ricky Lake, where there's these kids that have a disease that makes them, they don't have like their brain doesn't know.
I know what you're talking about, right? They don't know the signals that go from the brain to the belly and back. The thing is, I'm not 24 hours a day eating.
You just, when you do it, you do it.
Yeah, so it's not like it's not like I'm just putting everything in my mouth. Like I haven't eaten today, which is also a problem. I know because my blood sugar gets low when I whatever.
Okay.
When I'm podcasting, you forget. But like I will many times not eat until dinner. So it's kind of like,
and then you just load up,
man.
Which
Sometimes
is funny
3 entrees.
Really?
Yeah.
So you can put food away.
Yeah.
See, I don't.
But I have stomach
I don't eat
issues.
a lot. What are your issues?
I haven't pooped since last time I was in New York and I tried to podcast with you. I don't know where it fucking goes, dude.
That's impossible.
Well, I do poop. Also, I noticed something the other day, actually, and it's funny because I've been thinking like I don't poop the way I want to. I want to wake up, I want everything out, and let's have a day.
Yeah.
That doesn't always...
You're not regular.
No. I take a lot of... I take magnesium oxide now. Shout out to Mag07, and that helps, but that's like a colon cleanser that I take nightly.
Yeah. I mean, I was constipated for the first time in my life, really constipated last year, and I would tell you it is a walking hell. Mm-hmm. It is a walking hell. It was the feeling I had to shit, and I was doing shows in Rochester, and I remember that Saturday... Rochester, comedy at the Carlson. I remember that Saturday being like, please. I put a suppository in my ass. Ooh. Still couldn't shit.
Cut to a clip.
Just slowly. But it took me...
Imagine you had it.
Yeah. Just a very in-depth of me in Rochester going, here I am in Rochester. Yeah. But it was so...
Thursday through Saturday.
Oh, guys, 2 more shows tonight. There's some tickets left.
By the way, hilarious promo to be doing that kind of shit.
Oh, my God. Putting a suppository in your ass. And
or just doing something very intimate while you're talking about how many shows are left.
Guys, and the breaths that change where you go, also go to dansoder.com if you're in the Buffalo area. But it was, I remember being like, please, like begging to God, like, please let me shit. And I talked to my doctor. My doctor was like, you're constipated. This is normal. Drink a lot of Miralax. Drink a lot of he's like, when you relax, your body will shit. And then I got home from my weekend at Rochester and I was just dumping spoonfuls of Miralax into water and drinking it. And I was watching TV and I took a shit that I was like, this is heaven. Mm-hmm. Like it dropped out of me and I just started... I wanted to like kiss the dirt the way Kevin Costner does in Robin Hood. I was just like, just the way it fell out of me. Yeah, sure. That's me just kissing my bathroom floor.
We put in. It'll be a picture in picture.
Yeah.
Just of Robin Hood kissing the dirt.
I mean, I was just like, it fell out of me, and I was like, this is what I was waiting for.
I could give a great analogy for people that have never been constipated, so you know what it feels like, and it's much lower stakes.
Sure.
Your fingers feel like you just want to crack the knuckle, and it's not, and then you get, and it just pops, and that's just like, I just needed that.
Can I give another one?
Yeah.
If you don't mind, I know it's your show.
No, I fucking love when people come and do this stuff.
When your ear is clogged, and you're trying to unclog your ears, and then it finally goes, and you're like, that like drop in where you're like, that's how it felt. So for you just don't have consistent shits. But
no, well, here's something that I need to recalibrate with because I know what it's like to have one of those.
Yeah,
and I think I'm always wanting that. Like the other day, I took a shit and I was just like, whatever.
Yeah,
but the shit was out of the water.
That's insane.
The shit was out of the water,
you
but
breached.
it didn't feel like. Ugh. there's still got to be so much more in there.
I think the older you get, the less those
I felt
happen.
this way since Tuesday, since almost a week now. So what were you saying?
So you have?
No, I felt this way since my 20s.
Since your 20s, you just felt like
even as a kid, I was always late for school because I always had stomach aches.
Do you have like acid reflux?
Not really,
because you eat a lot.
Yeah, not really. I'm finding ways of controlling it. For example, I've been really working on limiting sugar and fried foods.
Okay.
And shockingly, and this has been like for a year and a half now, maybe even more, I am limiting gluten and how much that has helped me.
Really?
Yeah. Not with necessarily stomach, maybe, but like I have joint pains.
Yeah.
And like I always have this issue on my back, my neck here, my levator scapula.
Okay.
And I would get massages and physical therapy and all these things. And I got off gluten, like completely, not even cheated, for a month, and it went away. And I've noticed now I limit my gluten. And I notice sometimes when it starts acting up, I'm like, you know what? I had Mediterranean and I ate a couple of the pitas.
Really? Just a couple of pitas will do it?
Sometimes.
Because I love bread. I love it so much.
I didn't know how much, because I always knew people love bread.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, bread's great. But then when you try and not eat it all the time, I crave it.
Oh my God. Like a great Italian loaf, just that you could just like tear open.
I feel like that's what Italian people refer to as their shit.
Here they go. I got a good Italian loaf, buddy. There was a girl I knew that had a gluten allergy. But she had a gluten allergy, and she told me that when she ate gluten, she didn't realize it was making her sick. And she was
like celiac disease.
Yeah, she didn't realize she had it, and she was eating gluten, and then she went out like for a night, and she was like, I had to shit so bad, I went to the bathroom and I shit out what felt like a coffee can because of gluten. She said the shit.
It's thick.
It was so thick, and it hurt her so bad.
Oh.
She was in so much pain. She shit, and then she went home and slept for 14 hours. Like
celiac is bad.
It just like took her body, and then she's like, I haven't had gluten since.
Yeah.
She's like, I haven't had any gluten since that day. And you're like, yeah, I fucking bet. But how satisfying does that feel? To shit that big and go sleep for 14 hours?
My mom told me a story, and I don't really remember. Actually, I'm going to see if I could get her on the phone to tell it. It was, I think she was pregnant with me or my brother, and she was constipated, and they gave her something and literally put her in a bathtub.
Just to like fucking...
And she put her, they put her on her side.
Oh my God.
Let me see.
That's crazy. Because one time I got a colon, an endoscopy. This is like years ago.
What's an endoscopy? Down the throat?
Yeah, to look at your stomach.
Right.
Because I've had GERD, I've had stomach acid reflux for years.
Quit bragging.
I know, right? And this is at Bellevue when I didn't have medical insurance. So this was like basically a free hospital. And I was in this giant waiting room, and I'm on local anesthesia. So I'm like kind of coming back with it. But they had an old man on his side, and they were like, sir, you just have to fart it out. And he was like, I don't want to. And they're like,
Is he
you
Jewish?
have to. I don't know what he was. But
Sounds like it.
But he was like, I don't want to. And they're like, and they pushed his legs in, and he farted in a way that sounded so painful, but also so satisfying.
Painful, the fart, or that he had that in him?
Like that he had it in him, because
Right.
he was like, and it just leaked out of him, and he was like, oh. And you just heard him, and I was like, I wanted to get up and be like, yeah. I was cheering on this guy, because the fart sounded so like, oh, he was getting everything out of him.
I just tweeted recently that pooping is the new coming.
It is.
Just that release.
It really is.
Because you could make yourself come if you're, typically whenever you want.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, but when you get a good fart or poop.
I want to see if I could get her to tell this story.
Oh my God, a bathtub.
I also always get prepared. She always says, hello! So,
Hi.
Hi, Ma.
I'm at the grocery store and looking at my labels and finding my organic and finding my gluten-free.
I'm trying to remember that story where were you pregnant with me or Matt when you couldn't go to the bathroom and they put you in a bathtub? What was that?
It was when I had bladder infections and they couldn't figure out why. So they wanted to see me be able to go to the bathroom and urinate, and I couldn't because I was too nervous and too scared, and I was young, and so they put me in a shower and they had me do it in the shower, and I still couldn't do it.
Wait, I thought you had diarrhea in the shower.
No, it was pee in the shower. Don't make me sound stupid about the pee. Did I sound stupid about the pee?
No.
Okay.
Mom, I'd like you to meet my friend Dan.
Hi, how
Oh,
are you?
Jesus Christ. Really? Hi, Dan.
Well,
Hi.
Mom,
How are you?
Dan and I were talking about because I was talking about some issues I have with eating, and sometimes I eat so much and my constipation. And he was connecting with me about how sometimes when you can't get something out, and then you're able to get out a poop or a fart, and how orgasmic it is. And
Oh, no, it's the most luscious. There's two luscious. There's two bathroom luscious stories. One is having the pee so bad and then going, and the relief of knowing you made it to the toilet. Number one, and number two is not being able to make a duty, and then something comes out, and you just feel like you've been given a present because your stomach is. Oh, yeah. So I get it. Orgasmic.
Couldn't agree more.
Is there anything you want to plug?
No. Marshall Rug Gallery.
All right, shout out to Marshall Rug Gallery. If you're looking for just the right flooring, you need choices. And at Marshall Carpet One, you'll find thousands of choices, including carpet, hardwood, rugs, and luxury vinyl. So make the right choice and visit Marshall Carpet One and Rug Gallery. And we promise, with more than 50 years as a family-owned business, we've got you covered!
You did the commercial for that.
Yeah.
For Marshall Rug Gallery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remembered I watched that. That was great.
Oh, you've seen my work?
Yeah. How did that come about? Were you like, hey, I'm going to make you guys a commercial? Or were your parents like, well, hey, you're really good at this. Will you make us a commercial?
There's two different things happening. One is when I started this podcast, I didn't have advertisers, so I would always cut to Marshall Rug Gallery commercials as a joke because I have something to plug. And what I would cut to was real local Marshall Rug Gallery 15-second spots that I did the voiceover for.
Okay.
So they're like, Marshall Rug Gallery, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, is this real? Is this fake? Because like I've never heard it. It's a local rug store. It sounds like Rick. Is that Rick? You know, it's just like a fun little thing. Then I started putting it on all the podcasts I would go on, and I would always cut to it. And I would have it on big podcasts, you know?
Love it.
Tiger Belly put it on, Bert Kreischer, Mark Maron. I'm like, these guys are getting 6 figures worth of ad space as a joke.
I love it.
So
your parents have to love that.
They love it. It's great. And I'm selling Marshall Rug merch. People are going into their store to buy the Marshall Rug hats and shit. And like, we don't sell that here.
Do they now?
No, they don't. The thing is, and it's like, I don't know if it's the best thing. They've decided, Marshall Rug has decided not, even though obviously business needs to make money, they decided not to even let themselves have customers anymore. It's weird. Everybody that shops there is family. But what I'm trying to say is, I went home and I decided to, like, on my own, film a commercial. Like, I'm home. I bring all this equipment. I love making stuff.
Yeah.
So I found, and I'm forgetting his name. I do apologize. If I remember, I'll put the Instagram in the description or up here. Mark it. I'll look for it. But there's a guy who does weddings in Cleveland, and I said, I'm looking for somebody who operates a drone because because Marshall Rug Gallery is such a staple in this take your shoes off universe. Now, instead of like when I did some podcasts in Cleveland, we would do them at Marshall Rug Gallery.
Okay.
So Mark Norman comes over.
Love it.
And he goes to Marshall Rug. So I wanted to have a fun intro. And we have like the drone looking at the Marshall Rug and zooming in and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, while we're here, I want to, like, we're at Marshall Rug. Let me make a proper commercial for the place. So I just made a commercial, very sincere. I just no parody whatsoever other than why am I doing this? I always wear sweatpants because I don't like wearing pants, so I wore the sweatpants in it, but I wore a professional Marshall Rug button down, and I did the thing, and it looks great.
Yeah.
It looks so good that they were like, we want to, like, can we use this as a real commercial?
Yeah.
But my dad's partner, Mark, put a thumbnail, he's wearing sweatpants. It's so unprofessional, and he wouldn't post it.
What?
Because I'm wearing sweatpants.
What?
I'm like, fuck this, man. And I put it online. I'm like, I made a commercial for my dad's rug store. They didn't ask me to do it. They're not going to use it. And then there was so much engagement with it that Mark's like, fine. And then they started running it. They did ads, like local ads and ads on Hulu for in the area and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was like, they used the commercial.
I mean,
I was like, that's fucking awesome.
Now, your dad and Mark are
They're partners and best friends.
Partners and best friends. Yeah. Was there a moment where your dad was like, I love the commercial. It's Mark that won't.
No, it's not really that kind of relation. It's kind of like Mark doesn't want to do it.
Okay.
So it's like, whatever.
Okay.
Like I told him, I think it's great, but like it feels like My dad was in the restaurant business for years and got out of the restaurant business very quickly. He was getting burnt out. He was working 20-hour days a lot of the time and didn't have a job for, I'm making this number up, but let's say 8 months. That's where we went from upper middle class down to middle class.
Hey, welcome.
Yeah, which is fine. Fun. But, we weren't getting Snapples anymore.
You're getting fucking Costco brands.
So Mark Mark and his brother had a carpet store, Marshall Rug Gallery.
Okay.
Marshall was their father. And said, Dad, Dad, why don't we partner up and do a rug side? So my dad came in, and my dad is not partners in the rug side. But Marshall's is a bigger entity that is Mark more. It's their family.
Okay.
My dad is more just the area rugs.
Yeah.
So it's like it's Mark's spot more.
Sure.
So we go like, if Mark doesn't want to do it, then we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's the tent that you're under, selling rugs.
Yes.
That's fucking awesome. I love that you can make a commercial for your parents' legitimate business as just like a fun fuck around thing. Like I can't do, well, my mom doesn't work anymore, but like I can't.
Does she need a job? I'm looking for someone to move curtains.
Yeah, trust me. Put Trish in curtains and watch those things fly out of the store.
PTIC.
Yeah, dude. Put Trish in curtains.
Yeah.
Hashtag PTIC. She'll move to Cleveland.
PTIC sounds like something that some medication would talk
sounds like
to you about. Do you suffer from severe to moderate PTIC?
It sounds like a thing that stops you from shitting. Yeah, you're like, I actually have PTIC. Yeah. I can't even can't really go. I'm fascinated with the food thing because I don't eat a lot. I like to eat, but I can't smell. And yesterday, my fiance and I were talking.
You have no sense of smell.
It's gone. It's just gone. I started smoking cigarettes so young that I think 12, that I think it, from constantly smoking and blowing smoke out of my nose, I think it just zapped my sense of smell.
Where were you at 12? New York?
Aurora. I grew up in Colorado.
Oh, yeah. That's where your mom lives.
Yeah.
Denver.
Yeah. Well, Aurora, southeast.
Aurora, is that where Wayne's World takes place?
That's from Aurora, Illinois.
Right.
So
Illinois.
it was always, they got Wayne's World,
I understand that Mike Myers doesn't have a problem taking a doodle-a-doo, 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 doo-doo, a doo-doo.
I like that.
Yeah, he's not constipated.
It's fun.
So what is Colorado like when a 12-year-old is like smoking cigs?
Oh, it's awesome. Because it's the suburbs. So you can just like ride your bikes around and be like, hey, let's go to the park or like the drain. Like the tunnels for drainage in the suburbs, how kids would crawl around those all the time.
Sure.
You like go underground, just be a little dirtbag kid.
Yeah.
And someone would get a pack of smokes and they'd be like, let's go to the park and smoke cigarettes.
What was the first time you smoked a cig? Was it a peer pressure thing?
Totally. We were behind the McFrugals, which is like the dollar store.
Oh, that's gotcha.
Yeah, it's
called McDougal's is to McDonald's as McFrugal's is to the dollar store.
Exactly. And now it's called a Big Lots, which is a national chain.
Shout out to Big Lots, by the way. We'll put their Instagram handle up here.
Big Lots. But we were behind the Big Lots on Chambers and Hamden, and my friends we were fucking 11 or 12 years old. My friends had a couple cigarettes that they stole, and they're like, we're going to smoke cigarettes. And they had already done it. So they smoked, and they're like, you should smoke.
So it's the two. Let's paint this picture. It's the two of them.
Jason and Nick. This is really big. Nicky at the time, he went by Nicky. And we were behind McFrugal's on the grass. We were riding bikes around.
And in your mind, you're not going to smoke. You don't wake up this morning thinking, I'm about to smoke.
No.
You're just going to the
We're going to go ride
McFrugal's.
bikes.
Right.
We're going to go ride bikes, maybe buy some football cards.
Are these friends of yours you're close with?
Yeah, these are my close friends. And so we're like riding bikes or whatever. We were behind McFrugal's and they're like, oh, we smoked before. And I was like, oh, yeah, you guys have. And I wanted to smoke, if that makes any sense.
I think I understand.
My dad smoked cigarettes. I barely saw him, but whenever I saw him, I always thought it was so cool that he smoked.
Did he live in Colorado as well?
No, he lived in San Francisco. So I would
How old were you when he left?
5
years?
Yeah, I was 5 years old, 5 or 6 years old, and he left. And I would go visit him periodically, not a lot. But when I would, he would smoke cigarettes.
How would you visit him as a kid? You'd fly?
Yeah.
By yourself?
Yeah, my mom would walk me to the gate. I'd fly to San Francisco. And
when you're 6, 7 years old?
Yeah. 6, 7. Yeah. And then I think when I was 10 years old, I tried one of his cigarettes. He like put a cigarette out on the counter.
Oh, so you smoked? I thought you first smoked was 12.
But I didn't get anything. I like put it to my lips.
Oh, it's kind of like putting the tip in.
Yeah, just put the tip in.
Right.
And then when I was 12, so we're behind McFrugal's and they have cigarettes and they were like, oh, do you want to try? And I was like, because I was playing football. I was like, I shouldn't. I play football. And they're like, oh, come on, you should try it. We're all going to smoke. And they're like, we have a third cigarette. And so they gave me the cigarette. And I remember
they happened to have 3 cigarettes.
Yeah, I think they had like more. but I remember them just being like, we have a cigarette for you. And so I took it, and I remember like inhaling, coughing a lot, getting like the buzz, or my head was like, I was like dizzy, and then I loved it. It was almost instant.
Were they smoking first, or did you do it first?
They did it to be like, see, we're doing it, and I was like, all right, I'll
And then
try.
did you light your own cigarette?
No, they lit my cigarette. Like I remember being like,
did you know to hold it like this
from the movies?
Right.
Yeah, and watching my dad. So I like lit the cigarette and then was like, breathe.
Took it big.
Yeah, because you don't know how to like breathe in.
I've never smoked a cigarette.
Really?
Never once.
Oh my God, it's the best. It's the fucking best. And so I remember doing that and being like, and then coughing and being like, but then being like, it wasn't that bad. And then
are you smoking them? And how are you getting them at 12? Are you always having to steal them?
Yeah. Or you would do a thing where I actually showed my fiance the gas station I used to do this at when we were just back in Aurora for Christmas. I used to stand on the side of a Circle K and wait for people to walk in. And cigarettes were $3 a pack. This is, when I was 12.
And you give them $5?
Give them $5.
Keep
and
it
you'd be like,
changed.
hey, sir, will you buy me a pack of cigarettes? Sir, will you buy me a pack of cigarettes? Never ask women, only ask men. Sir, because women would be like, what are you doing? No. But
they got the shit under the stick, don't they?
Yeah, they really do. They're called fat and ugly and stuff, by men. And then guys, you would see guys be like, all right. And like sometimes, like the guy that would do that, you'd be like, thank you so much. And it was the way you were like, the way you would get that dopamine rush for a tiramisu, I'd be like, pack of Marlboro Reds.
Did you notice a certain type of demographic or character trait of the people that would say yes? Well, could you describe that? And
they always looked like shit. They always looked like they were like going through something.
Right.
Like if a guy was like well put together, like
why risk? I have a 3-piece suit. I don't need to risk this trouble.
Also, you're a fucking kid. Right. No, but a guy like work pants, paint on his pants, like soot on his fingers, like someone that had worked a real job that looked tired. If you were walking in, they're just like, ugh. And
they maybe were smoking at 12.
Yeah. And they were like, yeah, right. I remember trying to get cigarettes when I was your age. And so they would.
Did you try to only ask those people then? Were you more selective once you got good at it?
Yeah. Then it started to become a thing where that Circle K was, there was townhomes like right by there, like apartment complexes and townhomes. And we could hang out at this girl's townhouse. No, she was, 7th grade, so I don't even think they were in yet. So we're not gonna. But we could go over there and smoke cigarettes and later drink alcohol.
Oh, right. You don't just have to buy them. You have to find a place to smoke them.
Yeah. But this was a place we could buy them. We could get them at the Circle K and then immediately go to Laura's house and we could smoke cigarettes in her basement.
How often were you smoking? Meaning, how often did you have to get a new pack?
I would smoke every day. My friend.
Multiple cigarettes a day?
If you had them, yeah.
Is that where the saying comes from? Smoke if you got them?
I think so. I don't know, but I maybe. My friend Byron used to steal.
Alan?
No, I wish, because then he could just.
Bowers.
I wish too. No, Pascal. He's a good guy though. Commercial electrician. Shout out Byron Pascal. I don't think he's on social media. He's like a regular guy.
Oh, well, just shout out back to Denver again, I guess.
he's just working to provide for his family, and he would steal a Salem Light and a Marlboro Light. His stepdad smoked Marlboro Lights and his mom smoked Salem Lights. And he would bring them over and in his hand hold them. And this is when we were in 7th grade, waiting for the bus.
7th grade is 13 years old? 12, 13?
Yeah, 12, 13. And we'd go to the bus stop and he would hold out his hands. And you'd be like that. And he'd be like, oh, you got the Salem Light. And you'd be like, fuck.
Oh, we don't like Salem Lights.
You always wanted the Marlboro Light.
And because that's what the dad smoked.
Yeah, it was just like the better cigarette in my mind because I didn't want a menthol. And we would smoke before the bus. The bus would, it was
Did teachers smell it on you?
The bus driver never said shit.
The teachers, though.
Yeah, by the time we were there, it dissipated.
Did you gum? Did you feel the need to hide?
Altoids. Altoids were real big.
Altoids were fucking
big.
They ran it.
Yeah. Altoids, you pop 2 Altoids, your sinuses would clear, and you'd be like...
Altoids was like the Kleenex of the mint world.
Yes.
You didn't even say mint.
Yeah.
You got an Altoid?
You got an Altoid. Right. And then I started putting cigarettes in my Altoid boxes. So I would clear out the Altoids, and they were a perfect box.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Let me put this back on. Go ahead.
So I'd put my cigarettes in the Altoid box. So when I had my Altoids, I had like my actual Altoids, and I had my smokes.
You ever get in trouble for cigs?
Oh, yeah.
Is it cool to say cigs?
I think it is.
I feel like when people refer to California as Cali, I often think like,
yeah,
cigs isn't that?
No, I don't take it as that.
What about ciggies?
Yeah, no.
Is that racist?
I think so.
Bleep it.
Yeah, I think they like their full name.
Keep it in.
Cigarettes.
Right. It's a hard T that really, though, I feel
if you say it mean,
yeah, it
come
depends.
off.
Right. Don't how you say it.
Don't say it around them. It's a problem.
Cigarettes are probably a deal breaker for me in a relationship. I don't think I could date a girl or a guy who smokes cigarettes. I'm so turned off by cigarettes since I was a kid.
Well, you also can smell. You like food, so I'm sure your palate is very enriched. So it's probably.
But still, even watching, like if I were to be dating a girl or a guy, and somebody sent a video like, oh, I just saw, like they didn't know that I was going to see this video, and not them cheating on me.
Sure.
Just I didn't know they smoked cigarettes. They didn't tell me they smoked cigarettes, and I see a video of them like smoking a cigarette. I would feel like they cheated on me.
Really, you would feel like that's fucking disgusting.
Yeah. There's a more emotional reaction to it that I understand only part of it, and I don't want to get into not because it's necessarily a secret. It's just what's the point right now?
Yeah.
But just there's an emotional reaction I have to cigarettes that's interesting, that it would be more than just, ew, gross, she smells. It's, I can't believe she's doing this.
You would feel betrayed.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Does anyone in your family smoke cigarettes? Did your brother ever smoke?
I'm sure my brother smoked.
But you were adamantly against it.
Very.
You were like, I will not fucking touch a cigarette.
As a kid, I once smelled smoke on my mom. Doesn't mean that she smoked.
She was just around it.
I smelt it. And I had this feeling that cigarettes, when you're a kid, you hear cigarettes are bad for you.
Yeah.
It could hurt you.
Yeah.
And I think my mom was smoking cigarettes. I've talked to her about it since. And I actually talked to her about it. I did an episode of my podcast with my ex. The first time they met, I picked my mom from the airport with my ex. And they talked for a second, and it was so much fun. I said, stop talking. Come over tomorrow. I want to do a podcast where you meet her for the first time.
Great.
It's only on Patreon, patreon.com/shakeyshoesoff. Seriously. But we go into the story. My mom admits some stuff, and I literally had to bleep some stuff. But there was something about it where, as a kid, I thought my mom, when she would go out with one of her friends, they were going out, not like she was going out cheating on dad, but she was going out smoking cigarettes.
And that was disgusting.
It was disgusting. It was, you were lying to me. It's dangerous. And then when I smelt it, my feelings were being negated. And I was like, this wasn't intentional, but I think I was being gaslit.
Yeah.
And no, what are you talking? That's not what that is. That's not what that smells like. And then when you catch something, I remember my brother's friend found weed in my dad's car when I was a kid. I didn't even know what weed was, and said, look, it's weed. What is that? And then it's drugs. And I was so upset. My dad told me that it was oregano, and my dad worked in a restaurant. I was like, oh, okay.
Well, of course.
And then later when I found out it wasn't because of the smell, he goes, oh, and he blamed it on one of his chefs. I'm like, oh, okay. And I believed it. I always believed things.
When did he come clean to you?
When I later realized what weed is, I'm like, oh, you smoke weed, don't you? And he goes, yeah. It was just because I was a kid, and I guess you don't want your kid to know, which I understand. I mean, there's boundaries. I get that.
Yeah.
I have a very weird relationship with lying. And I'm learning more and more about this as I get older. I'm only 22, but there's things I'm figuring out.
Yeah.
And it's not a coincidence that the cigarettes and the lying together. And
because it's a thing where if someone like you is around and you hate cigarettes and you're close to you and someone's smoking cigarettes, they're going to hide that from you.
No.
Cigarettes are a thing that people hide a lot, though. It's a thing that people hide that you don't ever really talk about, because there's cigarettes, it's taxable, it makes a lot of money, there's all this, but when you smoke and someone hates it, you immediately go to lying. You protect cigarettes more than you protect the trust with that person.
Interesting. I guess I could tell you I don't know how much that happens because it's been hidden.
Yeah.
I do know I see people smoking all the time, especially at comedy clubs, and when I'm with them, I either walk away or I say, if we're kicking it and we're having a good time and I'm to your side, if I want to stay with you, I would say, hey, would you mind holding it with the other? I'll either go to the other side or blow the other way. And if that, you either give me a reaction like you don't want to do that, because I can't tell you how to live your life.
Yeah, but that's a reasonable ask.
But if it happens again and I don't want to have to keep telling, I leave.
I love that.
I used to go.
I love that trait in people.
Which trait?
Just like that. I've asked something, you didn't come through with it. Now I'm gonna leave.
Well, I can't. I would be wrong to control you.
And I am just amazed with the standing up for yourself. I'm amazed even in that little bit that you're like, no, I'm standing up for myself. I've told you where my boundary is, and you've crossed it, and now I'm leaving.
What do you connect with that's amazing? Or do you have an issue with setting boundaries?
Yes. Oh my God, my whole life. Is
this in your eyes and you didn't want to tell me?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm fine. It's moving. It is moving.
Is it really?
It's moving.
What can we do? Let's reset it. Let me set it up.
I think just push the blue.
Yeah.
We're working on boundaries. We're working on me standing up for myself.
Yeah, let me say that just a way of looking at standing up for yourself, which may sound scary, and it is what it is, as opposed to making your life the safest and most comfortable. Finding a way to make my life feel safe is less than, hey, close this for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I think my fiance, it would agree with you more than anything that's something she's like really tried to. Oh, that's so comfortable. That's so comfortable.
You know what? I got some cake in the fridge.
Oh my God.
All right, we're going. So tell me about your wife. Your wife would say about sticking up for yourself.
Oh, she's just. I didn't realize how much I doormat myself in order to make other people feel comfortable. I didn't realize how much I'm like willing to put up with bullshit in order to like not put people out or bum people out, I guess.
Do you think that's a product of you being a COD?
Child of divorce?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I remember when my parents got divorced, I didn't want it to seem like it was a big deal. I didn't want to bum them out. I was like, no, yeah, fuck it, whatever, dude.
When they told you about it, do you remember were they trying to care for you and your feelings, or was it they not really taking that into consideration as much, and you felt the need to do that for them?
I think my mom was put in a situation where she was in like a survival mode, so she couldn't do. I bet if you ran it back, she would probably want to do that more. But I think she tried. Sure. My dad, I don't think gave a shit.
What happened?
My dad and my mom broke up because my dad took money from their mutual bank account to pay off a debt that he had and lied to her about it.
Do you know what the debt was?
I don't. But he took the money and then signed her name, forged her name on the check, and then hid all the bank. You know, this is before email and shit. It's before the internet. So he just hid all the stuff when he would come to the house. And then, you know.
Is this... There's one incident.
Yeah, this is the incident.
So it's this, and we're getting a divorce now because I can no longer trust you. It's
Well,
like being
she's like,
cheated on.
yeah,
Or did that start other things?
No, that was the whole like, oh shit, you were lying to me, like forging my name. That's a big lie. I'm gonna give you a chance to come clean. Asked him, confronted him, like, hey, this is it, last chance. Did you lie? And he was like, no. And then she had all the paperwork and slid it over to him. She's like, get the fuck out, we're done.
When was the last time you talked to your dad?
Oh, he died when I was 14.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all right. You didn't know.
I knew.
You did know.
I knew. I told you I didn't do any research.
That'd be great.
No,
you go, God, I can't wait to set him up with this one. Get him to talk about that old dead son of a bitch.
I have a surprise for you.
Dude, I have been waiting since he died for me to find out that it was a prank.
Oh, no, I was just saying I really have some cake in the fridge if you wanted.
Oh, fuck. I was hoping my dead father wasn't really dead and he was going to come around the corner.
Yeah.
That would have been Patreon worthy.
At a different time, because it's a lot of work for Tom, and thank you for what you do, Tom. We have had people like come in, like an ex or someone. Well, I got a surprise for you. Come in, and we just animate a person coming in. That's great. And I would have you do the voice of your dad, and it could be cathartic, but you know.
I don't even remember what his voice was like. I think it was like, hey, I'm a real piece of shit. Yeah. No, my dad was super funny, so it was a bummer because he was like, the fun guy was gone.
How'd he die?
Drinking. Drank himself to he got hepatitis C. Shout out. Okay, I thought we were gonna put it up there. But it turned into cirrhosis.
Get the fuck out of here.
It turned into cirrhosis.
Oof, of the liver.
Yeah. Yeah, the worst kind of cirrhosis.
Gulp, 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 gulp.
So that was brutal because I didn't see him ever. So I went from like not seeing him from when I was 12 on, and then just when I was 14, they were like, hey, your dad's dying, so if you want to see him, you should probably come out here.
Did you?
Yeah, it was fucking brutal. Brutal. Because when people die of cirrhosis, their bellies inflame. They look pregnant because their liver is eating itself. So it's all producing bile and shit. So they get really like pregnant, but then the rest of them is like jaundice and like, they look like skeletons with fat bellies.
Were you scared?
Oh, fuck yeah. I walked into that, when I walked into my grandma's apartment and saw him.
Oh, he wasn't in a hospital.
He died at the VA, at the vet's hospital, but he was sick at my grandma's. And so I went to California and saw him at my grandma's house, and it was fucking brutal. One of the worst things I've ever seen in my life.
Was he talking to you?
Yeah, he was very sick, but he was like, you know, he was very quiet and like, it was more like, it was odd because you could tell he was embarrassed. You could tell that he knew that like, yeah, this is my doing and I'm dying. And he hadn't seen his kids because my sister was 12 years older than me, my half sister. And she and
Is she still around?
No, she got killed in a car accident 2 years after my dad died.
Because you said was. Jesus, man.
Yeah. So when we saw him, there was like this embarrassment on his face where he was like, yeah, this isn't really how I thought I was going to go. And so just the rest of the time, he was kind of like just quiet. He was just kind of like, he was a very loud and funny guy in his life. And then just the last time I saw him, he was very much like just quiet and dying, which sucked.
Did you stay at your grandma's house?
Yeah.
How long were you there?
It was Thanksgiving, so we stayed there, I think, 3 nights.
So you were with him for a while.
Yeah, I slept in the guest room and I would hear my grandmother, because my grandmother was like taking care of him, and he would like wake up and be like, yeah, I threw up blood again. And they didn't know I could hear them through the door. And you'd be like, oh, shit. And then I'd see him be like, hey, Dad, how you doing? He's like, I'm great. And you're like, you look like shit.
Right.
And apparently you're throwing up blood. But then, yeah.
Did you say that kind of stuff to him, or are you just saying that now as an adult joking?
I'm saying that joking as an adult.
Right.
No, I was like, oh, I was just trying to be positive.
Right.
You know, and same thing we were talking about, like setting boundaries. I was just kind of like, oh, I don't want you dying to bum me out. Like that's how my whole energy was.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, this is fucking people die. I was like trying to act casual at 14, when in reality it was like making me, you know, everything around me was crashing down.
How was his mom? And do you have a relationship?
Yeah, she's still alive. My grandmother, we have a very complicated relationship, but I love her, you know.
Since you were a kid, you did?
No, only recently, since I got into therapy, did I start really realizing how complicated our relationship is. Because I've taken care of her for the last 11 years.
Is she in California still?
Yeah, she's still in the same.
Taking care of her, what do you mean by that?
Financially? Paying her financially and paying her bills and stuff. And she's old school, so she doesn't really show appreciation a lot. Or she does it in like a very kind of manipulative way where like she won't be appreciative. Then I'll leave visiting her and then she'll be like, oh my God, you do so much. And that always made me feel like shit. Cause I was like, I was kind of mad at her. And then she would do that.
Wait, you're saying she waits, she thanks at the end? Kind of like.
She waits for me to leave. And then she's like hyper appreciative to kind of try to bring me back another time.
Do you feel that's kind of like when you go to a club and you know you're going to have the same server for the whole weekend? Instead of tipping every night, you wait until the end, but you give them 100 or 200 or whatever?
That's what I thought it was. Because that's a perfect analogy. That's what I thought it was.
I'm like the Michael Jordan of basketball. Analogies.
Just leave it up, dude.
Yeah.
Just leave that analogy up. But then I talked to my therapist, and my therapist was like, no, she's manipulating you.
Right.
She's absolutely manipulating you. And so through that, I've like came to kind of understand who she is better. And it's just, I have a very complicated relationship with my dad's family. That side of my family is there's been a lot of shit. Been a lot of shit to walk through with them.
Well, you sister, I'm sorry, did you say a half sister?
It was my dad's daughter from when he had just graduated high school.
And when you were growing up, were you close with her?
My mom and her mom were friends because he abandoned her and her mom.
Right.
And
so
then
they
my
had
dad,
a common thing of the dad leaving.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend. So
Nietzsche.
Yeah, I don't know who did that one.
I'm saying it's a niche kind of thing. Like how many people could relate to that?
How many people know that? How many people know a wartime saying that could relate to it? But my mom, when I was like 9 years old, my mom was like, your sister needs to be in your life.
Yeah, it's The Art of War. Who wrote that?
It's Sun Tzu. Who knows that shit?
Right.
But my mom brought her in and we got real close because she was 12 years older than me. She had been through the shit and she was just like a cool older sister that, you know, she lived in LA, so she would come to Colorado a lot and hang out.
Let's get back into your wife recognizing you need to set stronger boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so into boundaries.
Oh man, it's took me forever to learn how to be like, don't do that. I don't like when you do that.
Right. Even in your example, when you're able to do it, it was very, it has to happen. Sometimes you have to tell someone who don't. But like your example of standing up for yourself and a boundaries, don't. Like it's almost like the resentment, by the time you establish it, the resentment is already, it's like going to sleep when you're exhausted instead of tired. You do it when you have to.
Yeah. And
as opposed to setting up your space the way you want it.
Exactly. I also get very defensive all the time. All the time. I'm like ready to fucking go to
Oh yeah,
war.
you an angry guy?
I have anger in me, but I'm not an angry guy. I just have anger where
Well, everyone has anger in them.
Yeah, but I have anger in a way that I tried to dismiss most of my life. I tried to be like, I'm not, but I'm not really. And then I'm like, oh, no, that's there.
Right.
And I just need to become comfortable with the fact that I have anger. Because you're right, everyone has anger.
You don't let yourself feel your feelings.
Yeah.
You want to lay down?
Yeah, let's lay down. Actually, you know what? No, I enjoy sitting up.
Lay down.
Okay. You know what? No, this is a boundary.
No.
That was a test.
I don't know if that translated, but my thought of that was like therapist.
Yeah,
laying
no, that's
down.
why I was thinking like, oh, that'd be good. You know,
Yeah.
hands folded on the
Sure.
chest. But I also, I have sleep problems. I have a very hard time sleeping. So if I lay down, I tend to fall asleep.
That doesn't sound like you have a hard time sleeping at all.
But I only sleep for like 10 minutes and then I wake up. I can't stay asleep.
Do you take melatonin?
No. But I did find out recently I have sleep apnea. So I'm getting a mask in like 2 weeks.
Congratulations.
I'm very excited.
Were you snoring? Is that your wife's going to be happy?
No, I don't snore. She was the one that found out about it because she's like, you move around so much. Last night she had to sleep on the couch because I move around too much. I like roll over, I set, I like.
Sounds like she didn't say enough for herself and should have made you sleep on the couch.
I always am down to sleep on the couch, but she is such a sweetheart that she's like, you're already in the process of trying to go to sleep. I'm up. I can sleep on the couch and stay asleep.
Teach people who may have sleep apnea or their partner might have sleep apnea and they don't realize it. What, like, oh, I was listening to this podcast. That might be like, what are some of the signs other than just moving around?
I wake up, I'm tired throughout the day. I could take 2 or 3 naps in a day, easy. But I also smoke weed, so I was always like, oh, that's the weed thing. But then the feeling we're talking about taking a dump and that like relief, that like, oh, I talked to Sal Volcano. You don't have to block
Shout out to
this.
Sal Volcano, who's giving it here.
One of the best people I know. And he was diagnosed with sleep apnea. And the second he got on the CPAP machine,
that's just a mask that helps with oxygen?
Yeah, it pushes oxygen in because you're stopping breathing. So your body's waking up. But you're not becoming conscious.
Your body's waking up to like help you breathe.
Yeah,
you're sleeping,
like,
you're not able to.
You're like taking it.
Right,
So
it's scary.
And that's snoring a lot of the times. But when you don't snore, you roll around, you kind of wake up.
Oh, snoring is a way of forcing the oxygen in.
Yeah, you're like, and then you start snoring again because you're not getting the oxygen. But Sal told me when he slept with the CPAP machine, he said the first morning he woke up without, like after sleeping on it, he was like, oh.
Like leaving
my
the
God.
matrix.
Yeah, he was like, oh, every single person I've talked to, including my cousin who's a doctor and my doctor who's helping me is like.
Who's somebody's cousin.
They got to be related to somebody. How'd they get here? They were like, it will change your life. Like that, the sleep you will get, you will feel like a complete new person.
Now it's a machine, right? Like you keep it plugged in the side of your bed.
I haven't picked it up yet, but yeah, it's a machine that my doctor told me you put. I don't have the full face. I have just the nose.
Right.
And
why is that?
Because he said that my apnea is not bad enough that it needs to be forced in. Just the air needs to be pushed into my nose. I have lighter sleep apnea,
right?
Which is why I wasn't snoring. Which is sometimes people they take it as restlessness, not sleep apnea.
And what is the test to find out that you have sleep apnea?
You do I did
sleep study?
Yeah, I did an at-home sleep study where they put your finger in like a monitoring thing. They
What is it? A monitor as like pulse? Heart rate thing?
They check heart rate and pulse. You put your finger in it. You wear it a watch, and then you wear a thing that's connected
like
to your
an
chest.
EKG type of thing.
Exactly.
And then it connects to your app, a phone app?
It connects. It's just on this watch.
Oh, so there's a watch.
Connected.
So finger, watch, heart.
Yeah, and the finger's connected to the watch and the heart's connected to the watch. It's all on this watch.
Right.
So you go pick up the watch from your doctor, this setup, and then you wear it, and then the next morning you take it to your doctor and drop it off.
So it was only one sample of one night.
Well, I did 2 because the first one I woke up in the middle of the night at like, because I can't stay asleep.
Right.
I woke up at 4 a.m. and just pulled everything off and went back to bed.
So
and
you only really did you gave him one night's worth of data though.
And then I went back and did a full one. And then I went back and he was like, why don't we get a full, wear it for the whole time you sleep? And I went back and he's like, yeah, you definitely have sleep apnea.
I want to take one. I don't know if I have that, but I am tired a lot.
Do you sleep? Like, when you go to sleep, do you just wake up in the morning?
No, I it does feel like a newer thing that I keep waking up during the night.
I'll wake up during the night and I'll check my phone sometimes. There's been times I've answered emails and I've woken up and been like, did I answer emails?
Oh, you don't even remember. You were like blacked out.
It's like I remember it kind of. I'll like, if I think about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I do remember I looked at Twitter at fucking 4 a.m.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
So it was a thing where I didn't really realize I had sleep apnea. And then Katie was like, there's something going on. You're not getting sleep. You don't sleep well.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went and did this sleep study. I found a sleep doctor.
How exciting, dude.
I'm so fucking excited.
Uh-huh.
Like I have a orientation on January 12th to like go into the city. They're going to show me how to set it up, how to clean it, how to organize the machine. And then I get the machine and I'm like,
what are you going to do when you go on the road?
You can buy one that's small enough, or I'll just pack this one. I'll just, you pack 4 suitcases for podcast. I can pack a fucking machine that'll help me sleep.
Right.
But everyone I've talked to is like Stavros, people I know that have just gotten on CPAP machines. They're like,
it's pretty like popular, huh?
They're like, you're going to want to bring it with you because the sleep you get from it is
Do you
incredible.
think that a lot of people have it? Because I've heard of people using this. Do you think it's more people getting sleep apnea, or is just being diagnosed more? Like people
probably diagnosed more. I think it's absolutely.
These are great. Like there's people that listen to this and like I'm thinking about it. Like, huh?
Yeah. It's just I
find out about it.
The thought of, so when Katie goes to sleep, she goes to sleep. She has a hard time falling asleep, but when she falls asleep, she's asleep until the morning. Like when she wakes up, it's not like, oh yeah, I heard that in the middle of the night and I went back to sleep. She like wakes up and she's like, what's going on?
That's nice.
And I'm like, what is that? What is that? And she's like, I feel rested.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wake up, I can get up like that, which is.
Do that again.
We're going on the road.
Mustache.
That wasn't. But there's times we're going on the road, it works. Because you're like, oh, I'm up. I got to go to the airport super early. I slept for 30 minutes. I'm fine.
Why are people, when they're traveling, I'm going below the line here in this conversation, but why when people are traveling, I gotta get my plane at 7 a.m. and like they gotta get your flights later.
I'll argue for the early flights because when we're on the road and you leave Thursday, I like to have as much as my Sunday as I can at home. So if I leave,
right,
and I'm not really sleeping, so if I leave at 6 a.m.
You have a wife.
And if I get home, I get to I'll take a nap and then I'll have the rest of the day with my wife and my dog,
Right.
And just hang out and be like, all right, this is great.
I like to leave around 2 so I could get up, I could sleep in a little bit. Maybe I'll get breakfast, probably not worry about anything, get to the airport.
But then you're at home, it's evening, you're already, but Monday's already there. Then you're back to work.
I guess, but what does that mean? What do you do on Monday?
Well, I do the radio show. So we work work Monday through Wednesday. We go to the studio, do the show.
I tend to work from home just doing the pod unless I'm like working on something, which is at best 3-4 months of a year.
But I'm saying, let's say you're filming something, right? Let's say you
that's different.
Like,
I don't go. I don't.
You don't go on the road.
I first of all don't go. I'm only now starting to go on the road.
Okay.
Pandemic happened, so obviously wasn't going for a while.
Sure.
My podcast grew a bit during that.
Great.
I never really had an audience before that, so I'm only recently like, I think I could be selling tickets more. Like I do stand up all the time, but 20 minutes in LA.
Sure.
So I'm only now starting to do that. But like, I just finished filming the show right before I started traveling in December. For 4 or so months, I was only doing stand up even on weekends. Like I wouldn't do weekday shows.
So I'll do that when I'm on the road. I'll do Mondays at the Comedy Cellar, and then I'll take Tuesday and Wednesday off to spend time with Katie and the dog, and then I'll fly and do, you do 5-6 shows on the road and come home. So, but when I'm not on the road, I'll tend to do stand up.
Well, what I was connecting with is like I would be waking up at 5:45 a.m. So like I'm not doing stand up at night.
Yeah, you're not.
We have to wake up early, so I kind of get it. But like, still, I hate waking up early.
Yeah, I bet I'd be interested to talk to you after you've been on the road for a while, because when you go on the road and they make you get up on Friday to do like morning radio and shit.
Right.
You
always do morning radio still?
I did coming up headlining when you're.
Is that still a thing?
Some cities, Some cities it isn't. It's also some cities I just have relationships with the morning shows at this point because I've been going there for years.
Right. But what does that mean? Having relationships with the morning shows?
I like them. Like when I'm in Philly, I'll go do Preston and Steve.
And you're doing it though. You're going.
Yeah. Like my Philly shows were all sold out, but I still went and did morning radio because I like the guys. It's like, and also the next time in Philly, they might not be sold out. So then it's like,
yeah.
All right, I'll keep that. You know, you don't want to use them until you don't need them because then it just feels
like your grandma.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And then
by the way, thank you so much for having me on before. I was wondering if I could come in this weekend.
Can I come back on?
Yeah.
Because that's fucking hilarious. What a perfect use of my grandmother's manipulation.
PUOMG. Do you think that podcasting offers more than morning shows now? Like,
yeah.
Are you on the road? Do you have a tour? Like, could we plug?
DanSoder.com. I'll be back on the road in February, starting at the Sacramento Punchline.
I think this episode comes out either end of January, beginning of February.
Perfect. DanSoder.com. I'm on the road.
Nice.
Yeah, all my dates are up on my website.
Do you do a proper tour where you're going like 3-4 weekends a month for a while to build up for a special?
Here's the weird thing about the road that's kind of turned into the social media era is now people do tours like they're bands. Is that recording?
Yeah.
But people go on the road like it's like they're a band. Like they're like, this is the such and such tour.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, really, you should only do that if you're doing theaters because then you're doing one night in a different city. So it's more of a tour, whereas like usually when you're on the road, you're like, I'm going to this city for this weekend.
Do you think that the naming the tour is because that's like what their special is going to be called? That's what I have noticed.
I think it's good for marketing.
Right.
But it really, as a comic, you live on the road. You like if you're doing stand-up a lot, you're going to be on the road every weekend. Just depends on if you're doing clubs, theaters, it's like where you're at.
What are you doing now?
Clubs. So, you just do 5 shows in a city and then you go back there, 16 months later.
How often do you sell out?
It's depending on what I sell out. I think I sell out probably like 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5 shows in most cities.
What are the ones that don't sell out more often? Thursday?
No, Thursdays are usually good. It's usually like
late
Friday
show?
late.
Saturday late?
Saturday late's good because it's Saturday and people are off, but like Friday late show, it just depends on the city sometimes. But yeah, when you're in clubs, you're doing 5 in a city and then you're leaving the city.
You making more of a living from stand-up or from your is it XM?
Sirius XM.
Is Sirius XM show?
The road.
Yeah.
Stand-up. Yeah. Stand-up is, I do it a lot more and it's more of a chance. Ticket sales.
I was just looking at I see people posting their tours and their schedules and I'm curious about ticket prices.
It's crazy. It's crazy when you have friends that go from being like the same level as you to being to the point where you're like, I don't know if I would pay a ticket for that.
Of course I wouldn't pay a ticket for that.
Because you're your friend, but you're like,
$55?
It's crazy. I've had friends that have gone up to like $70, $75 and you're like, that's crazy.
But good job, man.
Good job.
It's weird. It's because like I'm doing in fact, if this comes out before, I haven't. I think I'm doing at Irvine Improv. The date actually changed, and it's now March 16th.
Yeah.
But the deal I'm getting, because I'm just starting to go and do like proper headlining shows.
Yeah.
Is a lower end deal.
Sure.
And I'm fine with this because I'm actually my intention of doing this is actually to see, I wonder what my draw could be like. So I'm like, maybe I want to go on the road now because I only want to go on the road. And this is, I'm admitting I don't know if it's lack of work ethic or my hustle, which I feel like I've done in my own way.
You bring 4 suitcases of equipment
but
with
that's
you.
Not stand-up hustle. That's
still
a
hustle.
different creative hustle. Well, sure. But yeah. I want to travel a certain way. I want to fly a certain way. I want to stay in certain places.
Sure.
And if I can't, I'm kind of like, I'm going to be miserable. And I don't want to be it. I've done that kind of stuff for different reasons. I can't do it. So if I can't sell a certain amount of tickets, I don't want to go on the road and just cover my costs.
I think here's the thing about the road. Usually with clubs, they will work out like a guarantee if they don't know what you're going to sell. Like they're like, worst case scenario, we're going to give you this amount of money. And then it's if you're comfortable with that amount of money.
I don't know. I have to see. This is all new. And part of me is checking into, I want to talk about this, but yeah, I don't care. I don't think that they would give me a guarantee enough yet.
that you would feel comfortable.
That I'd be
going.
like, yeah, no, I need a proper. I want to fly first class.
Okay.
I want to stay in a nice hotel.
Okay.
I have 4 suitcases. I need to. I'm paying to check a couple of extra.
Yeah.
I'm tall. You get this.
Yeah.
Extended legroom isn't enough. People are sneezing all over the fucking place. I just don't. It's just
you
not
want to
worth
be
it.
comfortable.
I could just do the podcast. I don't want to. I want to do stand-up. I want to be comfortable.
Yeah.
I also want to like feel comfortable. So here's the dichotomy of that. I also like, well, I don't know what the show's going to be like. I haven't done an hour that much. You know, if you come and see me do a half hour, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
If you come and see me do more, I literally have no idea. So there's a part of me that's like, I'm not going to do this. I thought about this once. I think I talked about this with Bobby Lee. I talked about it with somebody on a podcast who they sell tickets well. I remember. And he said, don't do this, and here's why, and I get it. But I almost want to be like, if I go on a tour, the beginning ticket prices, they're going to be $15. It's called the I'm Sorry Tour. Like, I don't know. Maybe you'll laugh.
Yeah, we're trying something.
Who knows? We'll see. Because I don't, is it worth, I want to make sure, one, it's worth paying that price. And then also, that just adds weird pressure.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because I want to be able to make choices and miss. And I want you to be able to be, the audience be like, funny, that didn't work, as opposed to, that's not what I paid for.
I completely understand what you're saying, because I've seen people in comedy start comedy with a giant audience that maybe they were given, maybe they have
an audience from something outside of stand-up, for example.
Yes.
And like, we want to see them do stand-up.
Yes. And then they come in and they charge a lot.
Right.
And
Because they can right now.
Because they're wanted.
Yeah.
And then it sucks.
Right.
And then they can't get out of that.
Yeah.
Then it's just, every time they come back to the city, you're losing people, because people are like, well, that wasn't good. I'm not going to pay that a lot of money for a shitty thing. And then they go back to the city and the numbers start, and then they start clawing. Then they're like, oh, I got to get more people back up. Whereas, as opposed to, I think what you're saying is a good idea, where you're like, let's try this out.
I would rather sell out and make money, make some money from it, but have those people like me.
Yeah.
And give them an opportunity to see me, to like me. I right now, like I just said, I just filmed a television show, and this podcast is going pretty well. So I'm making a little bit of money, and it's awesome. And I want to go see Mike Birbiglia's show while I'm here.
Yeah.
And I do not want to, I'm only going to go someplace, even sporting. I'm not going to sit in the fucking back.
Yeah.
Just tell me about it later.
You want good tickets.
I want good tickets. When I look at the prices, and I'm working right now, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
And I'll still probably go to a show because I really want to see it, and I'll go to a show while I'm here. But like, if I'm working right now and this is my life and I love shows and seeing and I'm like, oh,
yeah,
I'm going to charge people who I'm like saying, come see the show. It's, you know, like, I don't know. It just, but again, I don't have as much experience with it. And at a certain level, I guess you can do that.
Well, I was always like I think I'm in a very comfortable place where I can promise, if you come to my live show, it'll be fun. We'll have fun. And I always like the idea of, then when you see me the next time I come to your city, I hope I'm better. Like, that's the pressure I put on myself. Like, I want to have better jokes.
Will you be doing a different set whenever you change?
So
you'll put out a special or tape something, or just burn it?
I'll just burn it. Sometimes I'll just be like, I'm done with that joke.
Right.
I'll even see a comic that has a similar premise, and I'll be like, well, if that's...
Yeah, that turns me off too.
Then I'm like, all right, then I'll just throw it away.
Right.
And be like, maybe I'll pull some stuff from the bit that I was like, oh, these lines were good. I can maybe use them in something else. But the idea of having to... Or I'll just completely abandon it. Everything you make doesn't have to be put out. And I don't think... We're in the era right now where it's like everything you make needs to be put out.
Yeah.
But you don't have to do that.
I don't have the developed instincts of what's supposed to be with stand-up. Like, I post almost nothing stand-up wise.
Yeah.
Because everything I do, it's like, it's not ready. And I don't mean that in a precious way necessarily. I really mean like, no.
Yeah.
But then I watch other people's stuff, and no disrespect, this is just the reality. It's like, oh, yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
I mean, how many things are just, what the fuck?
It really took me being yelled at by my agent and not yelled at, but being like, why the fuck? Because they would send me
Sounds
clips of my clips. They would send me clips to post, and I'd be like, I don't like that. They're like, this joke is 10 years old and it was on a special. I was like, I don't like it. Don't post that. I've got better stuff now.
Right.
And they're like, that's not what this is about. And then I would go on Instagram or Twitter and I'd see people post stuff where I'm like, you were just cool posting this?
Yeah.
You're just okay posting this? And it's like, well, it made me look at myself and think like, all right, maybe I'm being too hard on myself. Just put it out. It was already made.
Yeah.
It's like cooking a dish and being like, someone's like, can I have a bite of that? And you're like, it's not, I can make it better. And they're like,
oh, this is delicious. I'm hungry.
Yeah. They're like, oh, you already made it. You're just going to throw it away. And you're like, yeah, I think I am. I think I'm just going to throw it away.
In that analogy, though, you're making something in the moment and getting rid of it and getting nothing from it. But in the stand-up thing, no, this was in the past. You did it. You got what you needed out of it. It's not exactly the same. And I need analogies to fucking hit.
Sorry, that was off. I was just kind of stretching for a little bit. Yeah, I know you like food.
It could be more.
So I was doing a little pandering.
You made a sandwich. You took a couple bites. It was all right. Yeah, you got what you needed out of it. Yeah, you put it in the fridge. A couple days later, somebody comes over and it's like, no, I can make you something better now. No, but it's here. We're going to wait. Why not?
You know what I like? You came in there, you fine-tuned it. The analogy, seamless.
If there's anything I'm good at, and there isn't, it's analogies.
Carpet commercials.
Yeah.
You're unbelievable.
Thank you. No, there's some stuff I'm good at.
Yeah.
The idea of what we put out there, we grew up in a world where what we saw was a completed product.
Yes.
We saw the special.
Yeah.
And the special was special.
Yeah.
And there weren't many of them.
You wouldn't hear from Chris Rock for 5 years.
Right.
You would see Bring the Pain, and then you're like, and he brought the pain. The pain was felt and had. And then 5 years later, it's like, or, however many years later, Bigger and Blacker's out. Now here's a whole brand new hour, start to finish, that's polished and done. And
6 years after that, he's in, The Longest Yard remake. And it's
and that's finished.
Yes.
But that's finished of an old thing. So you really but yeah, no one finishes stuff anymore. Now they're like, it's out.
There still are. They're specials.
They're not that good though.
Yeah.
They're not that good.
Maybe not. You know what I'm going to tell you, and I've talked about it numerous times. It's so good is Ari Shaffir's special.
Oh, Jew is unbelievable.
What? Oh, right.
Sorry. Jews are great.
Yeah. It's so good.
But when you watch it, you see something that has been finished. Ari ran it, had it ready to go. Pandemic hits. He goes back in, finishes it even more.
Like what I did with your analogy.
It's exactly what he did.
Third base.
And then puts it out and you're like, oh, this is fucking great. Yeah. It's great. It's a topic, a very heavy topic that he goes in and makes he knows it well. You could tell it's a topic that he's lived.
But when we're doing shows on the road, that's also not a finished product.
But that's the fun in it.
But my argument for posting stuff, which we are not really doing, is what you're posting is a fair sample of what they're going to go see.
Sure.
We're not showing, look at me in my tuxedo, being the best version of myself, which for me is in a tuxedo. It's, hey, here's like something like you want to see this kind of stuff that it's like, it's funny. Some of it really better. Some of it's not going to be as good. Like this is what it is, as opposed to here's the best of the best. Like I feel that way with social. I make sure when I post stuff that I'm not posting me looking so good. Relatively speaking, you see a picture, oh, you look good in this versus you see what you don't feel like you're good on it. I never care about posting something where I always want to look good and I'm usually not too happy with a picture.
But you don't want to false advertise.
I also it's too hard to police. It's like, this is what I look like.
Yeah.
This is what it is. Yeah, this is what it is. I feel this way with the podcast. There's somewhere I make it a little uncomfortable. Maybe I was too vulnerable. Maybe I didn't come off nice. I felt myself. Maybe I was bullying a little bit because whatever reason.
Yeah.
It's like, whatever. This is what it is.
Yeah. I think with stand-up, it's a little mixture of both where I like posting special stuff because I'm like, hey, this was this material back when I was this age. Now come see what I'm doing now, what I'm talking about now. Now it's about topics because that's what I always loved coming up about being a fan of stand-up was I would see Louis do an hour and then the next time I would see him, I'd be like, I wonder what he's talking about now. Or Burr. Like you would see Bill Burr. Whenever he used to come to Caroline's, it was like a pilgrimage that like Giannis, Nate Bargatze, and I would go sneak into Caroline's to see what Burr was talking about in his new hour. And you were like, fuck.
He's
the best. But you would watch him and you'd leave and you'd be like, fuck, I suck. I suck so bad. But that was so good for us. Because then it would be like, oh, I want to go. I saw him at Carnegie Hall for the New York Comedy Festival, like 10 years ago or whatever. I saw him at Carnegie Hall. Fucking murder. It was one of the best live shows I've ever seen in my life. Music, comedy, doesn't matter. One of the best live shows I've ever seen was Burr at Carnegie Hall. And I left and went and did spots at Eastville right after. And leaving Carnegie Hall with Bill Burr just absolutely murdering, even riffing about how big the stage was just an unbelievable joke. And then going to a sold out Eastville show, which is now New York Comedy Club on 4th Street. New York Comedy Club on 4th Street. It's a great room. It was sold out. I remember I was doing well on stage, but it felt like I was fucking bombing because I just left watching it done at the highest level, and then I'm going and being like, Subways, you get on this, you know.
I remember going and seeing the first Fast and the Furious in the theater and walking out ready to go from neutral to drive because that was the only thing I could do, and just I could feel that's a similar feeling.
Yeah, you just wanted to look to your right and tell the next car you live your life a quarter mile at a time.
He didn't say that in a car, did he? Semantics.
Yeah, he's like, I live my life. You know what he does? I'm confusing it.
Whether you went by an inch or a mile.
You see that train track down there? That's a quarter mile. That light turns green. I'm going.
Now, is that something that you were able to recall, or are you a Fast and the Furious junkie?
I'm just able to recall because I remember quoting that to my friend in college as a joke and getting a laugh.
The reason we love that movie in our family so much is because of that. At Marshall Rye Gallery, we have family. How long has that been off? I thought I just checked it.
Let me check you.
So we have that camera. It fucking sucks, man. I think I'm gonna upgrade soon. I have camera. These things aren't meant to film in 4K. You can only do it for small sections. So I hacked the default setting so it does it, but every now and then it resets and turns off. And I like 4K for reasons I don't need to get into, but we're going wide, so when we stand up, we have some act outs.
At what point do you, you have all this equipment. At what point do you upgrade it?
So I've been thinking about it now because I've been traveling with the stuff, and then I break everything down, which is a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And I set it, and I pack it, and then I set it up here, I break it down, I go home. What I think I might want to do is upgrade my equipment for home.
Okay.
And then keep this and have a travel kit. It's always packed.
Yeah.
When I have to go somewhere, I have it.
You know what's in it. You know what.
I have everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like your sleep kit. I got my toothbrush, my underpants, and my dildo.
Yeah,
no.
That's fun. That is fun.
But I am just the sleep pants and the toothbrush, and and then just have like this in the closet, the 2 suitcases and then I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
And there's other stuff I'll be bringing, but like I have the main, all the wires and the da-da-da.
That way at your home, you could just walk in and have people come over, do the podcast. There's no setup. It's already ready to go.
Yeah. But this annoys me. And there are some times where, and that's why I check it so compulsively, and it doesn't even happen every episode, but there are times where like I've had a guest on that I was so excited about, and then I look and like my camera or their camera was off for like 40 minutes. So then I just take the wide and I go in tight and I turn that into a single camera and we cut around and nobody cares, I don't think. But I'm watching.
But you're caring.
We put so much time into this, and then it's like it's blurry. You bitch.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah, and I want to get monitors so I could check it easier. But monitors with this camera, there's an issue. And
I'll tell you, you're going on the road doing stand up. You start making some money from that. You take that money.
I don't want any. There's nobody in here with us. I want that. I don't want anybody in here with us.
Because then, especially as comics, we'll start playing to the other.
I don't think there's a problem. Actually, part of me wants somebody for that audience thing. Because when I do it sometimes, and it is fun, I actually like that. The reason I don't want it is because that I think is good. What that cannibalizes is I feel like we're sitting in a living room together talking.
Yeah.
And when people are there, it feels like a show.
Yeah.
I also like when people are watching people hanging out in a living room, as opposed to if there were producers and stuff, even if it is a living room, it feels like a set. You watch these production podcasts that look great and, pros and cons. It looks like you're watching a show.
Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah, this is a conversation.
Yeah.
Just with a lot of equipment.
That doesn't always work.
Yeah. But you found a way to make it work.
And
you bring it with you.
Yeah.
That's fucking big.
Still, DanSoder.com.
Yeah.
I normally take a Polaroid, but since I don't have my Polaroid camera, I might turn one into one. So could you look at your camera like it's a Polaroid and smile?
Great.
And what else? What else? Anything else you want to plug?
So it was great meeting you.
Really nice meeting you.
I've heard incredible things about you. Giannis loves you. There's a lot of people that have said incredible.
You know, we could spend a couple minutes. Tell me some of the stuff people have said.
Just that you're so funny, that the silliness of you. Like Giannis really was praising how much fun he had doing this.
Giannis.
And he's one of my favorite human beings on the planet.
I met him at my house when we were podcasting for the first time.
And how great is he?
I mean, just like that. So you're doing sketches online. You're making fun of black people and women and gay people, and then you're doing your Greek voice. And people, it's 2011, so people are like, "We fucking love this stuff."
They love.
And you're just telling tons of tickets through brown paper bags, and you're like, "But this, you know what? I want to be at the cool table." So then you go and you're like, "Fuck it, I'll go do Comedy Central, and I'll go do fucking Montreal." And then you're like, "But you know what? That stuff's not moving the meter. I want to go back to making fun of queers and transsexuals and transgenders and." And then you did that for a little bit. And then you got on Tim Dillon. And you got on Joe Rogan 3 times. And now, where are you? What's going on?
I'm here. I'm just here. Yeah, it got me to
How much
here.
money do you make a year?
Yeah.
I loved him.
Yeah, with Giannis, there was an instant, me seeking approval from everybody, especially older people or whatever. He was kind of a cooler Brooklyn guy that had been doing stand-up a while. He was like the most New York, one of the most New York guys. And I'm from Colorado, and I'm just like, and I met him through.
That's your impression of Colorado?
This is my impression of me. Hey, go Nuggets. But then through Nate Bargatze, I became friends with Giannis, and I was like, man, this is one of the most interesting, funny, talented people I've ever met in my life.
He's also great at taking it.
Like
we lean into each other.
Yeah.
Me maybe a little more aggressively than him.
Yeah.
But he laughs at it, man. Like I love it.
Great laugh.
Great laugh.
Giannis, when you get Giannis going, it's very fun. It's very rewarding. There's people in this business that I like making laugh. Louis Katz, Giannis Pappas. There's people I like getting going. Big J. I mean, that's why we had a radio show. Big J Okerson, there's people that I love making laugh because I'm like, all right, I find you hysterical. So
there's I brought that podcast out here early of last 2022, and I had some people on that I never met before. One of which who I love so much now, and he's about to come back on again. Bobby Kelly.
Oh,
he's unbelievable.
Robert Kelly is the closest thing I could say I have to an older brother. He terrifies me. I love him. And he's just the greatest.
Terrifies you in what way?
Like an older brother. I'm scared of him. I opened for him.
Isn't he so gentle? Because I thought he was aggressive from his comedy before I met him. Then when I met him, his comedy's aggressive, but he isn't at all.
He is, through fatherhood and through being older.
I met him later in life.
Has mellowed out.
Gotcha.
I was introduced to Bobby through Joe DeRosa, another person.
He's coming on soon.
I love Joe. Another person I love making laugh. But DeRosa reached out to me to be like, hey, can you open for Robert Kelly? And I didn't. I just knew Bobby from,
Tourgasm.
from Tough Crowd, from Opie and Anthony.
Yeah.
I just knew him from those things, which I was a huge fan of. So I was scared shitless of him. And then I went on the road with him, and he's the sweetest person in the world, and yet still can terrify me.
Is it fun going on the road with somebody? I've never really done that.
Oh my God. Coming up, it was the best.
Yeah.
And it was why when I started.
Low pressure, right?
It's just fun. It's just like there's a camaraderie where you're like, all right, let's see how Albany is.
Your team.
Let's see how,
that makes sense.
And so that's why I like doing it now. Like I like to take friends on the road with me, or people that I really like to take comics.
Oh, you always take somebody with you? You don't have local?
Now
Why now? Because you're making enough money to
I can pay them a little. I can pay them a little extra. If I need to pay their travel, I can pay their travel. Right. And I like having comics that I like to watch. I like having comics.
You're always watching.
I tend to watch like at least half their set every show because I like to be like, I like them, whether it be Dan St. Germain or like a younger comic like Jeffrey Asmus. I like watching people that was like, and when they're my friend, it's even better. Mm-hmm. And it's been fun watching like some of my former openers are now so big that I might be opening for them soon. And that's fun.
Like who?
Tim Dillon, Shane Gillis.
Great.
Where you're like, yeah, go fucking, you know what I mean? You're like, I knew how hilarious you were. So it's great to watch the rest of the world find out.
The reason I brought up Bobby Kelly, it was because I've been getting comments when I come to New York and or have New York people on, like, Normand or Morel.
Yeah.
Giannis.
Yes.
Bobby. I'm sure I'll get comments with this with you. I'm making this about me because that's the point I'm bringing it up.
Sure.
Is people say, the comments have been that people say they like me with these New York guys. And I've noticed when they mention these people that I'm really, I don't have a problem with non-New York people by any means. And there's things I like about a lot of things. But I do notice that like even now, it's just like, I don't know. And also maybe it's because I'm in New York. I feel a little bit different.
Sure.
Or Jersey, I guess technically. But, you know, it's like, I don't know. I like this. I don't want to move here, but I like this.
I think there's an engagement that I think you have in a city with so many people that when you're one-on-one, I think you tend to engage more.
I feel engaged in LA.
You do? And in LA, I always feel like I'm
wasting.
I feel like I'm always wasting their time in LA. I feel like everyone's...
Well, you got to work on that. You're projecting.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I can barely set boundaries with the sun.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even notice. You want me to move it again? Sorry. No, it's more, I just feel connected in a more consistent, as I'm checking my phone.
Yeah.
I just need to make sure because I'm recording another one. Ian Fidance. I don't know him.
You're going to love him.
He's about to come over.
You're going to love him.
But I just, it's a more consistent type of connection where it's just like, you coming in, you're talking, you know, doing voices, you're talking about your family, you're talking about
you got your dad, you do some, you do a little this, you do a little that.
But for real, it just, it feels like, I don't know.
I've always enjoyed, that's when I moved here, that was, I started comedy in Tucson, which is not a comedy city. Tucson, Arizona, Laughs Comedy Cafe. And I didn't feel pulled to LA. Mm-hmm. The comedy I grew up loving was all in New York. Right. It was all Opie and Anthony, Tough Crowd. It was all those guys. Were the guys that it made me want to do it.
Right.
And then I moved here and I was like, oh, this was it.
You have an East Coast vibe, but you've been here for a bit?
I've been here for 15 years now.
See, even in telling how long you're swearing, very East Coast.
That's what you got to do.
Been here for motherfuck.
Motherfuck. Wow, fucking long. A day and a fucking dollar.
Oh, I love when people that do voices, dude.
Yeah, it's fun. You don't do voices?
I mean, I could sing beautifully.
You
but,
can't. I
yeah,
can't.
Yeah.
I can't carry a tune. But I can do impressions, which has always just been a way for me to... Because impressions to me are only funny if you get them to say stuff that they don't say.
No.
No?
Thanks for coming over, dude.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear me sing something?
Yes.
Raindrops and roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up in strings. These are a few of my favorite things.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm. You can sing.
Yeah, I've been working.
Do you have a voice coach?
Yeah.
You fucking cheater.
I don't have a voice coach, but I do want to.
So you're a liar.
No, I was just joking around. I told you the truth.
You're lying to me. You actively deceived me.
No, I was making a joke about having a voice coach.
Rick, were you lying to me?
No. Larry David. Mm.
Scoot doo, blabbity blue, scoop dee. Oh yeah.